Chapter 1598. Chapter 1598. Chapter 1598. Dion Cave. Where is Ningyu going? Looking at Ningyu's disappearing figure, Xie was slightly startled and muttered. Xie really couldn't understand why Ningyu would leave at this time. Under normal circumstances, when Master Zhao set up the 5 elemental formation and the golden arowana fish king returned to Giant Shield City, Ningyu would definitely watch the cave entrance with him. But now, Ningyu had taken the initiative to leave, which made him very confused. Buzz. 3 minutes later, the space on the other side of the cave split open and Ningyu appeared. Is there a way to bring me into that small world? Ningyu floated in the air with a solemn expression. The reason why he chose to leave Xie and the others was because he had been bewitched by the sapling. The sapling told him that he could secretly enter the small world without attracting the attention of the mid-stage sky supreme martial artist in the cave. The sapling hadn't said anything recently, as if it was settling down. Just now, the sapling had finished settling down and started to give Ningyu advice. Ningyu was also afraid that the powerful martial artist in the cave would leave with the small world. So he listened to the sapling and wanted to enter the small world without anyone noticing and gather information. What are you worried about? Since I said it, I definitely have a way. Swish! The sapling flew out from the storage ring and floated in front of Ningyu. One of its branches shook as if it was waving its hand, telling Ningyu not to worry. The sapling originally had a total of 2 branches, and one of them was damaged. But after a period of rest, the sapling had already grown a 3rd branch. The 3rd branch of the sapling was a little special. It wasn't green but golden. The golden branch looked majestic as it swayed in the wind. If it was any other time, Ningyu would definitely be surprised by the 3rd branch of the sapling. But now, Ningyu was only concerned about whether he could enter the small world, so he had no intention of asking the sapling about the branch. Tell me if you have a way. Don't keep me guessing, Ningyu said anxiously. That small world is very special. Go into the storage ring, and I'll take you there. The sapling withdrew its 2 branches, leaving only the golden one outside. No matter what you see or hear later, I hope you won't make a sound. And you can't leave the storage ring without permission. Understood? Ningyu knew that if he wanted to enter the small world, he could only rely on the sapling. He nodded and entered the simmer ring with a flash. Shoo! After Ningyu entered the storage ring naturally fell to the ground. The sapling controlled its golden branches to wrap around the storage ring. Buzz! After wrapping the storage ring around it, the sapling dashed forward. It tore open the void and dove into it. The sapling approached the storage ring from the void, but it wasn't very fast. It took the sapling 10 minutes to cover a distance that wasn't too far. 10 minutes later, the sapling arrived at the entrance of the small world. A layer of transparent light barrier separated the small world from the outside world. Whoosh! Facing the transparent barrier, the sapling didn't panic at all. He controlled the golden branch and slowly extended it towards the transparent light shield. Then a miraculous scene happened. The golden branches pierced through the barrier. It's nothing. The sapling smiled faintly, then used its golden branches to tightly wrap around the storage ring, so that not a single bit of the storage ring was exposed. It moved quickly, entering the transparent barrier in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! After entering the transparent barrier, the sapling's body gradually became illusory, and it quickly fused with the void. On the other side of the transparent barrier was the small world. The sapling naturally didn't want to be discovered by the mid-stage sky supreme expert in the cave. Although it had fused with the void, the sapling didn't stay in the same place. Instead, it slowly moved around the small world, trying to probe the situation inside. The small world wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small either. Fortunately, the sapling had produced a 3rd golden branch. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to enter. No wonder the expert in the cave left the small world here. So it was to hide this cave. After probing the small world for a few minutes, the sapling discovered the secret inside. Come out. The sapling threw out the storage ring, indicating that Ning Yu could come out. Whoosh! Ning Yu's figure flashed, and he directly appeared from the storage ring. This is the small world. After coming out, Ning Yu's eyes looked around, and then he began to probe carefully with his perception. A cave! Ning Yu had just begun to probe, and his perception hadn't left him for too long before he discovered the secret. There was a cave under his feet. Cave was just a common name. Its real name was the Gushing Earth Cave. The so-called Earth Surge Cave was a special terrain formed by an unending stream of pure energy gushing out from underground. Ning Yu's perception penetrated the ground and discovered that the Gushing Earth Cave was the size of a bowl, and it was constantly surging with energy. However, what surprised Ning Yu was that the energy surging out of the Gushing Earth Cave seemed to be attracted by something. As soon as it surged out, it quickly flew in the direction of the cave. Without a doubt, this was the doing of the mid-stage Heavenly Supreme cultivator in the cave. Do you want to do something big? The sapling was especially excited, and its golden branches swayed in the air. 280. You get 20 and I get 80. Nonsense. Ning Yu rolled his eyes at the sapling. You're still so greedy. 50-50. The energy surging out of the Gushing Earth Cave will split 50-50. All right. The sapling nodded, expressing its agreement with Ning Yu's method of distribution. Wait here. I'll use a secret technique to transfer the energy over. With that, the sapling turned into a shadow and burrowed into the ground. Be careful. Don't draw all the energy over. Leave some for the expert in the cave in case he attacks now. Ning Yu hurriedly reminded, afraid that the sapling would do something stupid. I know what I'm doing. Although the sapling had burrowed into the ground, its voice was still transmitted into Ning Yu's ears. It wasn't easy for the sapling to find the Gushing Earth Cave, so the sapling would definitely be careful. After all, the sapling still wanted to rely on the Gushing Earth Cave to turn its second branch golden. The sapling's cultivation was currently at the 5th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, and if it could turn its second branch golden, then its cultivation would reach the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. If the third branch could also turn golden, then the sapling's cultivation would reach the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Every golden branch would increase the sapling's cultivation by a rank. Chapter 1599. Collapse. Buzz. The sapling fiddled with the ground for a full 10 minutes before dividing the energy ejected from the Gushing Earth Meridian into 3 parts. One of them followed the original path and went into the depths of the cave to be devoured by the cultivator in the depths. As for the remaining 2 portions of energy, Ning Yu and the sapling each had a portion. It was a fair distribution. Will you be discovered if you do this? Ning Yu was a little worried when he saw the sapling divide the energy into 3 parts. The sapling had used 99% of the energy, leaving only a tiny bit for the expert in the cave. No wonder Ning Yu was worried. If the expert in the cave attacked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Before devouring Meng Quan and the others, the expert in the cave was a mid-sky supreme. Now that he had devoured Meng Quan and the other 2 peak 9th grade Earth sovereigns, his cultivation had most likely reached late Sky Supreme. With Ning Yu and the sapling's current strength, not to mention a late phase Heavenly Sovereign, they wouldn't even be a match for an early phase Heavenly Sovereign. Don't worry, I've checked. There's not much energy left in the Gushing Earth Meridian. Even if I don't use that much energy, the expert in the cave will soon absorb it all. The sapling shook its golden branches and said, Let's absorb the energy as soon as possible. Once we're done, we can think of a way to control this small world. All right, that's the only thing we can do now. Ningyu nodded and began to use the spiritual transformation art to absorb the pure energy gushing out of the gushing earth meridian. Buzz! The majestic energy flowed into Ningyu's body under the guidance of the spiritual transformation art. Maybe I can use this energy to break through to Earth Supreme. Ningyu's original plan was to collect the energy first and then break through to Earth Supreme when the time was right. But as soon as the energy entered his body, he changed his mind. The energy gushing out of the gushing earth meridian was extremely pure without any impurities. If he used this energy to cultivate, he would get twice the result with half the effort. Let's do it. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu immediately circulated the spirit transformation technique to the extreme and began to absorb and refine the energy in his body. Compared to Ningyu, the sapling did not have so many concerns. From the very beginning, he had been frantically absorbing the energy ejected from the earth surge meridian. From the looks of it, it seemed like it wanted to devour the energy that belonged to Ningyu as well. Xiao! The sapling's true form was the world tree. The speed at which it devoured energy could only be described as terrifying. The unending stream of energy first entered his golden branch and then transferred to the second jade green branch. As time passed, the second emerald green branch of the sapling began to turn golden. Good. When the sapling sensed the changes in the second branch, it couldn't help but praise it repeatedly. As long as the second branch turned completely golden, the sapling would advance to the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. During these 10 minutes, while Ningyu was still working hard to break through to the Earth Supreme Realm, half of the sapling's second branch had turned golden. The sapling's cultivation had also reached the peak 5th grade Earth Supreme Realm, only a step away from the 6th grade Earth Supreme Realm. What's going on? While Ningyu and the sapling were busy, Meng Quan's entire body was submerged in the not-too-big pool in the depths of the cave, leaving only his head. The liquid in the pool was originally milky white, but as time passed, the liquid became thinner and thinner. In the end, it even became transparent. Did the energy in the Earth Surge Meridian run out? Knitting his brows, Meng Quan replied, "Forget it. After devouring those 3 pieces of trash, my cultivation has reached the pinnacle middle phase, Heavenly Sovereign Realm. In addition to the energy from the Earth gushing acupoint, I should have a high chance of reaching the late phase, Heavenly Sovereign Realm. When I break through to the late Sky Supreme Realm, it will be the time of your death." As he spoke, Meng Quan's expression began to change. Not long after, Meng Quan's appearance changed drastically. An old woman. Meng Quan had turned into a completely different person. An old woman who was old and frail. The old woman's expression was extremely ferocious. Her hands quickly formed a seal in the void, and then all the milky white liquid in the pool surged out and entered her body. As the energy was injected, the old woman's aura grew at a visible rate. At this rate, it would only take a few hours at most for the old woman to break through from the mid-sky supreme realm to the late sky supreme realm. Outside the cave, the golden arowana fish king had already returned from Giant Shield City with a large amount of materials for Grandmaster Zhao's use. After all, he had to set up the 5 elements formation, a huge one at that. Grandmaster Zhao did not dare to be negligent and carefully led the golden arowana fish king and the others to investigate the surroundings. After a full half an hour, Grandmaster Zhao finally began to set up the 5 elements formation. The golden arowana fish king, Grandmaster Xingyan, Bada, and Immortal GMO. The 4 of them completely obeyed Grandmaster Zhao's orders and did whatever he wanted them to do. As for Xie Zhe, he paid close attention to the changes at the entrance of the cave and did not join the five elements formation. For a moment, the old woman in the cave, Ningyu, and the sapling in the small world, and Grandmaster Zhao and the others in the outside world formed a tacit understanding. Everyone was busy with their own things, and no one disturbed anyone else. Of course, the source of this tranquility was the old woman in the depths of the cave. As long as the old woman advanced to the late sky supreme realm, this tranquility would be broken. However, from the looks of it, the old woman would not be able to advance to the late sky supreme realm in a short period of time, which gave Grandmaster Zhao enough time. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, an hour passed. After an hour of work, Grandmaster Zhao had already set up the prototype of the five elements formation with the help of the golden arowana fish king and the others. 2 hours later, the five formation eyes of the five elements formation were set up. The golden arowana fish king occupied one formation eye, Bada occupied another, Grandmaster Xingyan occupied another, and Master GMO occupied another. As for the main formation eye, Grandmaster Zhao left it for himself. After all, he had to rely on Ningyu to save his granddaughter, so Grandmaster Zhao had no choice but to risk his life. 3 hours later, the entire five elements formation was more or less set up. Only one last step was left before it could be activated. Can you contact Ningyu? I can activate the five elements formation now. Grandmaster Zhao did not activate the five elements formation immediately. Instead, he turned to look at the golden arowana fish king and said, "The five elements formation is still a distance away from the cave entrance. We need a martial artist to go there and lure the martial artist out. Otherwise, once the five elements formation is activated, it will definitely attract the attention of the martial artist in the cave. I'll try to contact him." Hearing Grandmaster Zhao's words and seeing his serious expression, the golden arowana fish king released his perception and tried to contact Ningyu. Boom! Chapter 1600. Five Elements Formation. What's going on? The collapse of the cave not only confused the golden arowana fish king, but even Master Zhao and the others were shocked. They had gone through so much trouble to set up the five elements formation, all for the sake of capturing the mid-stage Heavenly Supreme in the cave. Now that the cave had collapsed, didn't that mean the mid-stage Sky Supreme could leave at any time? Ha ha ha. Just as Grandmaster Zhao and the others were confused, an arrogant laugh came from the cave. Whoosh! Then an old woman with a hunched back shot into the sky from the depths of the cave. "Sky, late-stage Sky Supreme!" Grandmaster Zhao and the others were dumbfounded when they sensed the terrifying aura coming from the old woman. Although they had already guessed that the expert in the cave would advance to late-stage Sky Supreme, they were still a little dumbfounded when they saw the old woman advancing to late-stage Sky Supreme. "I've finally advanced to late-stage Sky Supreme." The old woman's gaze swept across the surroundings and finally landed on Xie Zhe. She said coldly, "What are you waiting for? Come and die." As she spoke, the old woman's figure flickered, and she charged at Xie Zhe at a terrifying speed. The reason why the old woman dared to attack Xie Zhe was because she had already determined that Xie Zhe was heavily injured and couldn't unleash his peak strength. Moreover, she had just advanced to late-stage Sky Supreme, so she could kill Xie Zhe and use his energy to completely stabilize her facade. "Quick! Activate!" Xie Zhe hurriedly shouted as he looked at the old woman approaching him. Whoosh! However, as soon as Xie Zhe's voice rang out, something strange happened in the distance. A small world suddenly appeared not far from the cave entrance. Within the small world, Ningyu floated in midair, looking 100 times more spirited than before. "You dare take control of my small world?" The old woman's original plan was to attack Xie Zhe, However, when she discovered that the small world had been taken away by someone else, she immediately flew into a rage and changed her direction to attack the small world. The small world was her trump card and the key to successfully completing her mission. If the small world was taken away, her strength would drop by at least half. I was careless, the old woman inwardly regretted as she charged toward the small world. He had left the miniature world outside the cave to prevent some rascals from entering the cave and disturbing her cultivation. But now, someone could actually enter a small world and even occupy it. Fortunately, his cultivation is only at the first grade Earth Sovereign realm. Otherwise, it would be hard for us to take back the small world. The old woman was not a reckless woman. She knew that a few hours after the small world was taken away would be the best time to take it back. If he missed this opportunity, he wouldn't be able to find it again. Sapling, are you sure you have a way to trap her in a small world? Looking at the old woman approaching him, Ning Yu's expression didn't change, but his heart was very nervous. The other party was a late-stage sky sovereign. Even if he had a small world as a trump card, it would be difficult for him to pose a threat to the other party. Ning Yu's original plan was to abandon the small world and lure the old woman into the 5 elements formation. However, the sapling said that it had a way to use a small world to trap the old woman. The old woman was a late-stage sky sovereign expert. After trapping her, he could use a secret technique to refine her alive. As long as he could refine the old woman, Ningyu and the sapling's cultivation would advance further. The reason why Ningyu and the sapling would do this was because they discovered a secret of the old woman after taking control of the small world. The old woman wasn't from the sky demon territory. She came from the demon spirit realm. This time, she hid in the pellet formation continent to rescue the demon spirit realm expert trapped in the depths of the Moling mountain range. To rescue the demon spirit realm expert, she needed the help of a small world, and her cultivation had to be at the late-stage sky sovereign realm. Otherwise, the old woman wouldn't have stayed here. After discovering the old woman's secret, Ningyu naturally had to find a way to get rid of her to prevent future troubles. Don't worry. Since I said it, I definitely have a way to trap her. In order not to arouse the old woman's suspicion, the sapling had been hiding in the interspatial ring ever since it devoured the energy in the Earth Surge acupoint and raised its cultivation to the 6th grade Earth Sovereign. Even though the old woman had appeared, the sapling still didn't show itself. It only communicated with Ningyu through voice transmission. If you have a way, just say it, Ningyu said anxiously when he heard the sapling's words. Seeing that the old woman was about to rush into the small world, Ningyu must be very anxious. If it wasn't for the sapling saying that it had a way, Ningyu would have already rushed into the 5 elemental formation with the small world. Ningyu discovered that the 5 elemental formation was completely set up after a few hours of Grandmaster Zhao's work. As long as Grandmaster Zhao activated it, the 5 elemental formation would be able to operate perfectly. Give the small world to the old woman later. We'll hide in the 5 elemental formation. The sapling only spoke when the old woman was a few steps away from the small world. What the F***, CK? Would you have died if you said it earlier? Ningyu hurriedly abandoned the small world and rushed towards the 5 elements array. If I had told you earlier, then you wouldn't be so flustered. The sapling continued, sending a voice transmission to Ningyu. That old woman will definitely pursue us with a small world later. So long as we draw her into the 5 element formation, then we'll have an 80% chance of killing her by utilizing the terrifying might of the formation. When you enter the 5 elements formation, remember not to expose yourself. You have to give that old woman a fatal blow at the critical moment. Ningyu was not a fool since the sapling had spoken so clearly. Ningyu was confident that he could complete the rest. However, Before Ning Yu could reach the area where the five elements array formation was located, the old woman had regained control of the small world and quickly chased after Ning Yu. "Where are you going?" the old woman roared. She was determined to grind Ning Yu's bones to ashes. "I'll let you show off for a while." Ning Yu fled quickly without looking back. Ning Yu was very clear that the old woman only controlled the small world on the surface. In fact, the control of the small world was still him and the sapling. This was a scheme. Whether he could refine the old woman in the five elements array formation depended on the small world. Ning Yu was very good at escaping. In addition, it took some time for the old woman to regain control of the small world. So after 3 seconds, Ning Yu entered the five elements array formation safely. Swoosh! However, to Ning Yu's surprise, the old woman suddenly stopped when she was 1 step away from the five elements array formation. The old woman's pause made Ning Yu's heart skip a beat. Could it be that the old woman had discovered the five elements array formation? Ha ha ha! The old woman laughed wildly and said to Ning Yu, "Do you think I don't know that there's an array here?" Chapter 1601. Chapter 1601. Chapter 1601. Leave Rumble. Hearing the old woman's arrogant words, Ning Yu's face became very ugly, and his heart sank to the bottom. Although the control of the small world was still in the hands of him and the sapling, if the old woman did not enter the five elements formation, they would not be able to pose a threat to her. After devouring Meng Quan and the others, the old woman's cultivation had reached the late-stage sky supreme realm. "I'll give you a chance to live now. Come out of the formation, kneel before me, and kowtow a few times, and I'll spare your lives." The old woman hovered in midair, staring straight at Ning Yu and the others as she spoke sinisterly. In fact, Ning Yu and the others were worried. But how could the old woman not be worried? Even now, the old woman still had lingering fears. Fortunately, we discovered the formation at the crucial moment. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The old woman paid close attention to the changes in the expressions of Ning Yu and the others, not daring to be the slightest bit negligent. In the old woman's opinion, the array formation in front of him was very powerful. If he was trapped inside, he wouldn't be able to get out without spending a lot of energy. His purpose in coming to the Pill Formation continent this time was to rescue the Devil Spirit Realm expert in the depths of the Moling Mountain Range. Once he was trapped in the formation, he would suffer a calamity. "In your dreams." Facing the arrogant words of the old woman, Ning Yu briefly pondered before he coldly said, "A mere late-phase heavenly sovereign dares to speak to us in this manner? If you have the ability, then come over and kill us all. If you don't have the ability, then don't talk nonsense." Kiki. Hearing Ning Yu's extremely arrogant words, the old woman gnashed her teeth in anger. Even in the Devil Spirit Realm, the old woman was a high-ranking person. When had she ever suffered such humiliation? However, the old woman did not let her anger get to her head. She quickly calmed down and said, "Who doesn't know how to brag? I'm standing right here. If you have the ability, come out and fight me one-on-one." "One-on-one." Ning Yu was briefly stunned before he replied, "All right, suppress your cultivation to the Earth Sovereign Realm and enter the array. I'll fight with you." Back in the small world, Ning Yu had used the energy ejected from the Earth Surge acupoint to raise his cultivation to the first grade Earth Supreme Realm. Ning Yu was confident that he could defeat the old woman if they were on the same level. Of course, Ning Yu's original intention was to lure the old woman into the five elements formation and use the five elements formation to deal with the old woman. Wishful thinking. The corners of the old woman's lips curled up into a smile as she spoke in a sinister tone. As long as it's a high-level array, it consumes a large amount of energy every second. Today, I will continue to waste my energy with you. I want to see just how long your stupid array can last." After saying that, the old lady landed on the ground, sat down cross-legged, and slowly closed her eyes. The old woman's actions caused Ningyu and the golden arowana fish king to turn ashen. The old woman was right. As long as it was a high-level array, it would consume a large amount of energy. Although Grandmaster Zhao's 5 elements formation wasn't activated, it would still consume a large amount of energy to maintain it. As long as the old woman waited here for a few hours, the 5 elements formation would collapse by itself. What should I do? Within the 5 elements formation, Ningyu's eyes turned as he tried to think of a countermeasure. The current situation was very clear. The golden arowana fish king and the others wore grave expressions when they saw Ningyu's actions. If they couldn't think of a way to deal with the old woman in a few hours, they would all die today. If there's really no other way, I can make a move. Roughly 10 odd minutes later, Xie took a deep breath and took a step forward. I still have 8 months of lifespan left. I can consume a few months of my lifespan to heavily injure the old woman and buy time for you guys to escape. The reason why Xie didn't say that he would consume his lifespan to kill the old woman was because he knew how powerful the old woman was. Although the old woman was only a late Sky Supreme, her actual combat power was at the peak of the Sky Supreme level. Therefore, even if he and the old woman fought with their lives on the line, they would be evenly matched and wouldn't be able to kill each other. In this case, holding the old woman back was far more practical than killing her. Wait a little longer. Let me think of a way. Ningyu waved his hand, signaling Xie not to be in a rush. What are you waiting for? This is the best way, unless, as he spoke, Xie shifted his gaze to Grandmaster Xingyin. As long as Grandmaster Xingyin could refine the elixir before his energy ran out, he would be able to consume the elixir and fight the old woman. Without enough ingredients, I can't refine the elixir. Grandmaster Xingyin shook his head. I suggest that we split up and run. Let's see how many of us can escape. What are you afraid of? If worst comes to worst, we'll just kill our way out and fight that old woman. The golden arowana fish king said angrily. Fight? I'm afraid you won't even be able to block one attack from the old woman, Ba said coldly. If I can't block one attack from the old woman, do you think you can? The golden arowana fish king said angrily. At this time we should work together and buy enough time for the palace master to escape. Facing the quarrel between the golden arowana fish king and Bada, Ningyu was very calm. This was because Ningyu noticed that the old woman outside the 5 elements formation was trembling uncontrollably. This trembling was different from normal trembling. It seemed the old woman was furious. Rumble. At this time, an earth-shattering sound came from the east and entered everyone's ears. Damn it! The earth-shattering sound made the old woman's expression change drastically. There was no time to think. After cursing under her breath, the old woman glared at Ningyu and the others. Then, she tore open the void and disappeared. Swoosh! The sudden departure of the old woman made Ningyu and the others a little puzzled. What was going on? Why did the old woman suddenly leave? What did the old woman's departure have to do with that earth-shattering sound? All kinds of questions arose in the minds of Ningyu and the others. What should we do? 3 minutes after the old woman disappeared, Grandmaster Xingyin said to Ningyu, "Should we return to Giant Shield City?" If I'm not wrong, that earth-shattering sound just now should have come from the Moling mountain range. From the old woman's nervous expression and the information Ningyu had gathered, Ningyu was almost certain that the earth-shattering sound came from the depths of the Moling mountain range. Otherwise, with the old woman's personality, she would definitely guard this place to the death. Golden Arowana Fish King, you're the fastest. Return to Giant Shield City now and bring Guoliang here. Ningyu thought for a moment and said in a low voice, Grandmaster Zhao, Destroy the 5 elements formation immediately and save as much energy as possible. When we reach the Moling mountain range, we still need a lot of energy. What? We're going to the Moling mountain range now. Hearing Ningyu's words, Xie Zhe's eyes widened and his face was full of disbelief. Xie Zhe had long known that they were going to the Moling mountain range to help Ningyu occupy the sacred grade crystal mine. Chapter 1602. Chapter 1602. Chapter 160200-handed demon wrong. The Moling mountain range is incomparably dangerous. If we go there now, it will be no different from throwing our lives away. Ningyu shook his head and said. Ningyu's words made Xie Zhe heave a sigh of relief. Xie Zhe did not want to go to the Moling mountain range right now. There would definitely be a peerless powerhouse guarding the Saint Great Essence crystal mine. If he went there rashly, he would definitely not be able to obtain any benefits. In Xie Zhe's opinion, even if he wanted to go to the Saint Grade crystal mine, he would have to wait until he recovered to his peak condition. However, before Xie Zhe had time to rejoice, Ningyu's next sentence directly stunned him on the spot. Use this time to recuperate. When the Goldfish King arrives with Guoliang, everyone will go to the Moling mountain range together. Ningyu waved his hand, then sat down on the ground with his legs crossed and began cultivating. Even though the golden arowana fish king was traveling at full speed, it would still take some time for it to make a round trip. It is shameful to waste time. Therefore, Ningyu began to cultivate. Gulp! Seeing Ningyu's actions, Xie Zhe couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Damn it! Wasn't that a little too much? How could a bunch of shrimp soldiers and crab generals like them want to go to the Saint Grade Yuan crystal mine? Not to mention whether they could deal with the guards around the Saint Grade Yuan crystal vein. It was still unknown whether they could even reach the Saint Grade Yuan crystal vein. After all, the Moling mountain range was extremely dangerous, and it was rumored that there were many powerful demon beasts inside. Once humans stepped in, there was an 80% chance that they would die. Ning! Xie Zhe stared at Ningyu and opened his mouth, but in the end he swallowed his words. Actually, Xie Zhe wanted to ask Ningyu if there was any way to reach the Saint Grade Primal Crystal Mine. But on second thought, Xie Zhe felt that since Ningyu wanted to go to the Moling mountain range at this time, he most likely had some trump card that he had yet to reveal. Let's wait for Guoliang to come back first. Let's see how strong Guoliang is now. Taking a deep breath, Xie Zhe also sat down cross-legged like Ningyu and began to cultivate. Beside him, Bada and Reverend G.M.O. did not cultivate. The two of them leaped into the air and floated in the air. They unleashed their powerful perception and paid close attention to the changes in their surroundings. Although Bada and Master GMO had used their perception, Grandmaster Xingyan was still worried. Grandmaster Xingyan unleashed his liquid-to-pellet soul power and quietly probed his surroundings. At the scene, Master Xingyan's soul power was the most vigorous. Probing with soul power was much safer than using perception. Some powerful warriors or demonic beasts could hide from perception, but it was very difficult to hide from the strength of liquefaction to Dan's soul force. Master Xingyan and the others were exploring with all their might, paying close attention to their surroundings. Master Zhao, on the other hand, followed Ningyu's instructions and dismantled the 5 elements formation that had just been set up. Fortunately, the 5 elements array had only been set up and had not been activated yet. Otherwise, even if the 5 elements formation was dismantled, the materials would be useless. The materials saved from dismantling the 5 elements array could be used to set up the next 5 elements array. Of course, it was impossible to use the materials saved to set up the next 5 elements array, unless the Golden Arowana Fish King found some more materials from Giant Shield City. Ningyu and the others would have one less trump card when they entered the Moling mountain range. Drip, drip. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Whoosh! When the second hour arrived, the void trembled, and two figures appeared in front of Ningyu and the others. The golden arowana fish king, Guo Liang. Without a doubt, the two warriors that appeared were the golden arowana fish king and Guo Liang. Swish! The golden arowana fish king flicked his wrist and threw a storage bag to Ningyu. Pa! Catching the storage bag, Ningyu unleashed his perception and probed it for a while before handing it to Master Zhao. The materials in the storage bag were needed to set up the 5 elements array. When the golden arowana fish king left, Ningyu gave him 2 tasks. One was to find the materials to set up the 5 elements array, and the other was to bring Guo Liang over. The golden arowana fish king did not disappoint and successfully completed both tasks. Let's go! Ningyu was not an indecisive person. Since everything was ready, there was no need to stay. With a wave of his hand, he rushed toward the Moling mountain range. Behind Ningyu, the golden arowana fish king, Bada, Master GMO, Master Xingyan, and Master Zhao followed. Xie Zhe and Guo Liang did not leave immediately. Instead, they looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Let's go! Although they were shocked, at this time, neither Xie Zhe nor Guo Liang wanted to say anything. In order to get rid of the parasite poison in their bodies, they could only follow Ningyu to the Moling mountain range. The Moling mountain range was located between the 100 Flowers Palace and Giant Shield City. Because there were many powerful beasts in the Moling mountain range, few people dared to approach the mountain range, let alone enter its depths. However, at this time in the depths of the Moling mountain range, the ground suddenly split open and an old woman with a hunched back slowly appeared. If Ningyu and the others were here, they would definitely realize that the old woman was the old woman who had fought with them. The old woman's expression was solemn. Her eyes swept across the surroundings, and then she frowned and murmured, "The Moling mountain range is indeed a forbidden area. I have to be careful." Buzz, buzz! With that, the old woman's body gradually merged with the void and disappeared. Rumble! Not long after the old woman disappeared, the ground split open again, and an altar emerged from the ground. Crack! As soon as the altar appeared, it suddenly exploded. Then 3 martial artists appeared from the altar. Looking closely, 2 of the 3 martial artists were older, around 60 or 70 years old. Their cultivation bases were unclear. The 3rd martial artist was around 20 years old and wore a bamboo hat. Although the 20-year-old martial artist wore a bamboo hat, it was still obvious that she was a woman. The bamboo hat woman trembled slightly and did not dare to look at the 2 old men. I really don't understand why we brought her here. One of the white-haired old men stared at the bamboo hat woman and grumbled. Our mission this time is difficult. If anything goes wrong, we might not be able to keep our heads. Do you think I want to bring her? The other short and fat old man rolled his eyes and said, "It's that Master Zhao's request. He said that if we don't bring this burden here, he won't help us break the array formation in the depths of the mountain range. If we want to rescue, all right. You've already said that over 100 times. The white-haired old man waved his hand and said impatiently, "The most important thing now is to hurry to the place where the Devil's Spirit Realm Senior is imprisoned. We've already wasted some time on the way here. We can't waste any more time. What's the hurry? It's not like we're the only force that came to rescue the Senior this time." Chapter 1603. Old people. Although that is the case, the 100-armed devil is very powerful. Furthermore, she has a small world. I am worried that Senior will be rescued by her. The white-haired old man's expression was solemn as he said in a deep voice, Therefore, the most important thing now is to hurry to the place where Senior is imprisoned as soon as possible to prevent the 100 Flowers devil from taking the lead. The powers of the immortal spirit realm were intertwined, and so were the powers of the demon's spirit realm. The faction that the white-haired old man and the others belonged to was different from the faction that the 100-armed devil belonged to. In fact, they were even enemies. The devil's spirit realm experts imprisoned in the depths of the Moling mountain range were extremely powerful. Whoever rescued him first would be able to completely suppress the other forces. All right, let's go now. The short and fat old man thought about it and felt that the white-haired old man's words made sense. He grabbed the bamboo-hatted woman and stomped on the ground, tearing through the void and entering. Whoosh! Behind the short and fat elder, the white-haired elder also tore open the void and disappeared. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the Moling mountain range, voila! The void trembled and a group of people appeared. Without a doubt, this group of people was Ningyu and the others. Grandmaster Xingyan, I'll have to trouble you to explore the outer perimeter of the Moling mountain range and see if there are any powerful demonic beasts guarding it. Standing at the entrance of the Moling mountain range, Ningyu did not enter immediately. Instead, he let Grandmaster Xingyan explore first. No matter what, the Moling mountain range was a forbidden area, and there were many powerful demon beasts inside. If he barged in recklessly, he might encounter resistance. This time, Ningyu's group's main goal was the sacred grade essence, Crystal Mine. It would be best if they could avoid the powerful demonic beasts of the Moling mountain range. Buzz! Hearing Ningyu's command, Grandmaster Xingyan unleashed his powerful soul power and slowly entered the Moling mountain range. The speed at which Master Xingyan's soul power was advancing was not too fast. In fact, it could even be said to be very slow. After all, the Moling mountain range was extremely dangerous, so Grandmaster Xingyan had to be careful. Ningyu didn't stay idle while Master Nebula was probing. Through his control over the small world, he was able to deduce the exact location of the old woman. That old woman has already reached the deepest part of the Moling mountain range. After learning the old woman's location, Ningyu's expression became especially solemn. Ning, you had already experienced the dangers of the Moling mountain range last time. Back then, the reason why Ningyu was able to rescue Grandmaster Zhao was entirely because of the might of the Moling mountain range's Unicorn Monster Beast and Barb Monster Beast, blocking the square-faced and square-faced martial artists. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for Ningyu to take Master Zhao away. The horned and barbed demonic beasts were both early heavenly sovereigns, and they had brought along a large number of Earth's supreme demonic beasts. The fact that the old woman was able to sneak into the deepest part of the Moling mountain range under the watchful eyes of so many powerful demonic beasts showed just how terrifying her strength was. That old woman's location should be where the demon spirit realm expert is. The sapling didn't appear. Instead, it was communicating with Ningyu in his storage ring. The most important thing now is to go to the Saint Grade Origin crystal mine and not to the old woman. Ningyu's expression was slightly grave as he said in a deep voice, "Relatively speaking, the most important thing was to find a Saint Grade crystal mine. If he had a large amount of Saint Grade crystal, Ningyu would be able to do many things. For example, he could upgrade the Red Demon's sword to a higher level, use the Saint Grade crystal to strengthen the Supreme Palace, use the Saint Grade crystal to buy many precious medicinal ingredients, refine them into pills, and cure Xiaze and Guoliang. Finding the Saint Grade crystal mine was something that Ningyu couldn't shirk from. I also know that we need to find the Saint Grade crystal mine, but do you know where it is?" One of the sapling's golden branches shook as it said, "We can't run around the Moling mountain range like headless flies. In my opinion, we should go to the old woman first. Who knows? We might be able to find information about the Saint Grade crystal mine there." All right. After thinking about it, Ning Yu felt that the sapling's words made sense. Ever since the law of space had separated from Ning Yu, it still hadn't been able to get in touch with Ning Yu. The reason why the law of space had left was to find the experts that the Emperor Divine Palace had sent to the Moling Mountain Range and interrogate them about the defense around the Saint Grade crystal mine. Now that the law of space hadn't returned, it didn't even know where the Saint Grade crystal mine was, let alone the defense around the Saint Grade crystal mine. There's no problem at the periphery of the Moling Mountain Range. Not long after, Grandmaster Xinyan's voice rang in Ning Yu's ears. Hearing Grandmaster Xinyan's voice, Ning Yu immediately cut off the conversation with the sapling and walked toward the Moling Mountain Range. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Seeing that Ning Yu had entered the Moling Mountain Range, the Golden Arowana Fish King and the others didn't dare to delay and hurriedly followed. Since Grandmaster Xing Yin had explored the periphery of the Moling Mountain Range, Ning Yu's group didn't slow down. In fact, it could be said that they were relatively fast. However, as time passed, Ning Yu's group's speed became slower and slower. Everyone be careful. Everyone hide your aura and don't alarm the demonic beasts in the surroundings. The deeper they went, the more dangerous it was. Under such circumstances, Ning Yu's group naturally had to hide their aura. After all, Ning Yu's group could feel the fluctuations of powerful demonic beasts in the surroundings. Once those demonic beasts found out that they had entered the Moling Mountain Range, the consequences would be unimaginable. After slowly moving forward for another half an hour, Grandmaster Zhao suddenly stopped. His eyes turned red as he looked to the west. What's going on? Grandmaster Zhao's sudden stop confused Ning Yu and the others. They had no idea what Grandmaster Zhao was doing. Swoosh! Without answering Ning Yu's question, Grandmaster Zhao stomped on the ground and quickly flew toward the west. What the hell are you doing? Stop right now! Seeing Grandmaster Zhao's crazy behavior, Ning Yu finally got angry and hurriedly transmitted his voice. If you don't stop now, don't blame me for being rude. Ning Yu was furious. This was already the depths of the Moling Mountain Range. Grandmaster Zhao's reckless advance could very well attract powerful demonic beasts. If they got into a bitter battle here, it would be a huge obstacle to their search for the sacred grade Yuan crystal mine. Grandmaster Zhao did not seem to hear Ning Yu's words. He continued flying faster and faster. Damn it! Seeing that Grandmaster Zhao did not listen to his advice, Ning Yu cursed inwardly. Then he said to the Golden Arowana Fish King and Bada, "You two go chase him back!" Swoosh! Swoosh! In fact, the Golden Arowana Fish King and Bada had long wanted to chase after Grandmaster Zhao, but it was inconvenient for them to act without Ning Yu's permission. Now that they had obtained Ning Yu's permission, they immediately flew out and quickly chased after Grandmaster Zhao. Buzz, buzz! However, the Golden Arowana Fish King and Ba had only taken a dozen steps when they came to an abrupt halt. They realized that Grandmaster Zhao, who was not far away, had also stopped. Chapter 1604. Trapped. Not good. When the two cultivators appeared, Ning Yu realized the severity of the situation. These two cultivators were none other than the square-faced cultivator and the square-faced cultivator who had threatened Grandmaster Zhao back then. The reason why Ning Yu was worried was because the two cultivators' cultivation had advanced from the early-stage Sky Supreme Realm to the mid-stage Sky Supreme Realm. How long had it been? Advancing from the early-stage Sky Supreme Realm to the mid-stage Sky Supreme Realm in just a few days shocked Ning Yu. "You guys!" Grandmaster Zhao shouted as he hovered in front of the two cultivators. Noisy! Before Grandmaster Zhao could finish shouting, he was slapped several feet away by the square-faced martial artist. The force of the square-faced cultivator's slap was so strong that Grandmaster Zhao fainted. If it wasn't for the fact that Grandmaster Zhao was still useful, the square-faced cultivator would have killed Grandmaster Zhao with a single slap. There's a path to heaven, but you chose to barge into hell instead. After slapping Grandmaster Zhao away, the square-faced cultivator looked straight at Ning Yu's group. Last time, you took away that trash, Grandmaster Zhao. You won't be so lucky this time. Boom! As he spoke, the square-faced cultivator unleashed his mid-stage sky supreme aura and pressed down on Ning Yu's group. Humph! Guo Liang coldly snorted and unleashed his peak Hotian supreme aura. What? Sensing the powerful aura coming from Guo Liang, the square-faced cultivator and the square-faced cultivator's expressions turned extremely cold. Because Ning Yu's group had concealed their auras, the square-faced cultivator didn't notice that there was a peak sky supreme among Ning Yu's group. Although Guo Liang's injuries hadn't fully recovered, he couldn't see anything wrong with his aura. Retreat! The square-faced cultivator and the square-faced cultivator were worthy of being demon spirit realm experts. After discovering that Guo Liang was a peak sky supreme, they immediately turned around and fled. Although they had advanced to the mid-stage sky supremacy realm, they still couldn't compare to a pinnacle sky supremacy realm cultivator. If a peak sky supreme wanted to, they could easily kill the two of them. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two of them ran away very fast, even using all the strength they had. Rumble! However, the square-faced and square-faced martial artists had not gone far when the void in front of them suddenly split open. Voila! About 7 or 8 demonic beasts sprang out of the void and landed around them, surrounding them. It's them! In the distance, Ning Yu saw 7 or 8 demonic beasts appear, and his face became extremely solemn. The reason why Ning Yu did not gloat was because he saw 2 familiar figures: single-horned demonic beast, barb-hooked demonic beast. Among the 7 or 8 monster beasts that surrounded the square-faced and square-faced martial artists, Ning Yu was very familiar with 2 of them. Back then, he had almost died at the hands of the single-horned demonic beast and the barb-hooked demonic beast. Clearly, the single-horned demonic beast and the barb-hooked demonic beast target was not Ning Yu's group, but the square-faced martial artists' group. There was a path to heaven, but you chose to barge into hell instead. The single-horned demonic beast repeated what the square-faced martial artist had just said. Hearing what he had just said, the square-faced and square-faced martial artists' heart sank, and their expressions became extremely ugly. Although the single-horned demonic beast and the barb-hooked demonic beast were early-stage sky supremacy realm cultivators, they had many helpers. Among the 8 monster beasts, other than the single-horned demonic beast and the barb-hooked demonic beast, the other 6 were early-stage sky supremacy realm demon beasts that were only a step away from advancing to the mid-stage sky supremacy realm. 2 against 8. The square-faced martial artist had no chance of winning. I have to think of a way to drag those martial artists down with me. After recovering from his shock, the square-faced martial artist rolled his eyes and immediately shouted, "You monster beasts dare to surround us? Are you tired of living? My companion is a pinnacle sky supreme. If you dare to kill me, my companion will grind your bones to dust." As he spoke, the square-faced martial artist extended his right hand and pointed at Guo Liang in the distance. Swish! Guo Liang's finger attracted the attention of the single-horned demonic beast and the others. But it didn't matter. The single-horned demonic beast and the others were dumbfounded. Are you *King kidding me? The single-horned demonic beast stared at Guo Liang, then turned to look at the square-faced martial artist and said coldly, "Among them the strongest is only a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme. Where did this pinnacle sky supreme come from?" After resisting the pressure from the square-faced martial artist, Guo Liang had concealed his pinnacle sky supreme aura. Therefore, in the eyes of the single-horned demonic beast, Guoliang was only a pinnacle ninth grade Earth Supreme, not a pinnacle Sky Supreme. Impossible. Hearing the scolding of the single-horned demonic beast, the square-faced martial artist hurriedly looked at Guoliang, sensing the pinnacle ninth grade Earth Supreme aura coming from Guoliang. The square-faced martial artist opened his mouth wide and let out a roar of despair. Split up and break out. Since he couldn't rely on Ningyu and the others to deal with the single-horned demonic beast, the square-faced martial artist immediately announced that he would break out. There was still a chance of survival if he escaped. A battle to the death would only result in death. Swish! Swish! The square-faced martial artist broke out of the encirclement towards the west, while the square-faced martial artist broke out of the encirclement towards the east, in order to escape the pursuit of the single-horned demonic beast. The two of them even burned their lives to increase their speed. The six of you split into two groups and chase after them. The barb-hooked demonic beast, and I will stay behind to deal with these people. The single-horned demonic beast did not chase after the square-faced martial artist and the others. Instead, it ordered the remaining 6 demonic beasts to chase after them, while it and the barb-hooked demonic beast stayed behind to deal with Ningyu and the others. Swish! Everything ended as quickly as it came. In the blink of an eye, the square-faced martial artist and the others disappeared. Only the single-horned demonic beast and the barb-hooked demonic beast were left in the Moling mountain range. Swish! Since they had decided to stay behind to deal with Ningyu, the single-horned demonic beast and the barb-hooked demonic beast did not waste any time. They moved and instantly appeared before Ningyu and the others. Run? Weren't you pretty fast the last time? The single-horned demonic beast raised an eyebrow and coldly said to Ningyu, I'd like to see how you're going to run today. The single-horned demonic beast was still brooding over the fact that Ningyu and the others had left the Moling mountain range. After all, they had an agreement with the immortal spirit realm experts that they could not leave the Moling mountain range. Otherwise, they would be surrounded and killed by the immortal spirit realm experts. Now that Ningyu and the others were in the depths of the Moling mountain range, even if they wanted to run, they would not be able to leave the Moling mountain range in a short period of time. Therefore, from the single-horned demonic beast's point of view, Ningyu and the others would not be able to escape this time. Why should I run? Chapter 1605. Chapter 1605. Chapter 16059. Tailed Fox, are you King kidding me? The single-horned demonic beast widened his eyes as he stared at Ningyu in disbelief. There isn't even a single heavenly sovereign among you. So how are you going to fight me? As long as I want to, I can kill you at any time. Rumble. As soon as the single-horned demonic beast finished speaking, Xia Zhe and Guoliang unleashed their auras without holding back. What? Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Xia Zhe and Guoliang, the one-horned demonic beast's heart shuddered, and it couldn't help but take several steps back. The single-horned demonic beast never imagined that Ningyu would have 2 pinnacle heavenly sovereigns by his side. If the single-horned demonic beast had known about this earlier, it would definitely not have chosen to stay behind. Now he went for wool and came home shorn. Instead, he had fallen into a trap. You still have one last chance. Surrender to me, and I can spare your life. Ningyu placed his hands behind his back and stared at the single-horned beast. Or else, bear the consequences. What should we do? Seeing Ningyu's confident look, the barb-hooked demonic beast approached the one-horned demonic beast and said in a low voice. Originally, the barb demonic beast thought that it could kill Ningyu with its own hands to avenge Ningyu's escape last time. Who would have thought that Ningyu would have 2 pinnacle sky supremes by his side? We'll split up and escape. We'll return to the depths of the Moling mountain range as soon as possible to get reinforcements. Although it knew that Xie, Zhe, and Guoliang were both pinnacle sky supremes, the single-horned demonic beast had no intention of giving up without a fight. He rolled his eyes and coldly said, "This is the Moling mountain range. We might be able to stop two peak heavenly sovereigns with the help of the surrounding demonic beasts. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go." The barb-hooked demonic beast had wanted to leave for a long time. When he heard the single-horned demonic beast's words, he immediately moved and flew into the distance. Xiao, the single-horned demonic beast, followed closely behind the barb-hooked demonic beast, rushing in another direction. "Should we chase after him?" the golden arowana fish king said anxiously after seeing the one-horned demonic beast and the barb demonic beast leave. "Chase." Ningyu's words were concise and comprehensive, and he only spat out one word. "All right, I'll go after him right now." The golden arowana fish king hurriedly chased after the single-horned demonic beast. Whoosh! The golden arowana fish king had only taken a few steps when it suddenly stopped. Seeing that Ningyu and the others were still standing in place, the goldfish king asked suspiciously, "Why aren't you guys chasing after them?" "Amongst us, your cultivation is at the pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. If even you can't catch up to the horned demonic beast, then what's the point of US going?" Ningyu rolled his eyes. The golden arowana fish king was taken aback and was at a loss for words. Actually, on second thought, Ningyu's words were not unreasonable. Although Xie, Zhe, and Guo Liang's cultivation was at the pinnacle heavenly sovereign realm, they had poison in their bodies, so they would have to exhaust their vitality every time they made a move. Under this premise, the golden arowana king was indeed the most powerful person present. All right, everyone, prepare yourselves. We'll continue moving forward. This time, we have to reach the depths of the Moling mountain range as soon as possible. Ningyu waved his hand and said in a clear voice, "The single-horned demonic beast and the barb demonic beast are native to the Moling mountain range. Since they know that we have two pinnacle heavenly sovereigns among us, it means that they won't be coming back anytime soon. We can use this time to do some things." The golden arowana fish king did not know what Ningyu meant. He hesitated and asked, "What are we going to do?" "To turn them into true pinnacle heavenly sovereigns." Ningyu looked at Xie Zhe and Guoliang and said, "They are already pinnacle heavenly sovereigns." In fact, Guoliang was only a half-saint at his peak. "Why do you want to turn them into true pinnacle heavenly sovereigns?" the golden arowana fish king asked. "I got it." This time, without waiting for Ningyu's reply, Xie Zhe hurriedly said, "You want Grandmaster Xingyan to help you refine that elixir, the kind that Guoliang and I can use without any restraint." "You're very smart. Let's go now and find one of the main ingredients." Ningyu stared at Xie Zhe for a moment. Then his figure flashed, and he took the lead. The golden arowana fish king and the others exchanged looks. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. Even at this time, Ningyu was not the least bit nervous. Instead, he was thinking about finding the ingredients to refine the elixir. However, Ningyu was the hall master of the Supreme Palace. Since it was his decision, the golden arowana fish king and the others could not stop him. They could only follow behind Ningyu. Whoosh! Within the Moling mountain range, Ningyu's group's speed was not too fast. There were two reasons why Ningyu's group was not fast. Firstly, the single-horned and barb-hooked demonic beasts had just left. Ningyu had to be on guard against them returning with the army. Secondly, the main ingredient to refine the elixir was very special. Ningyu was not sure if he could find it. He could only slow down and let Grandmaster Xingyan and the golden arowana fish king use their senses to search. However, although Ningyu and the others had slowed down, they still could not find the main ingredient after searching for an hour. "Let's search for another half an hour." Ning, you did not give up. He decided to search for another half an hour. If he still could not find the main ingredient in half an hour, he would have to take the risk and head into the depths of the Moling mountain range. Roar! However, as soon as Ning Yu's voice fell, a loud roar came from afar. Whoosh! This roar was very loud, so loud that the surrounding trees could not help but tremble. What's going on? The sudden change made everyone's heart skip a beat. They quickly shifted their gaze to the distance. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw what it was. Rumble! In an open space not far from Ning Yu's group, two demonic beasts were fighting fiercely. One of the demonic beasts was huge, and its eyes were as big as millstones. It was extremely terrifying. The other demonic beast was petite. Compared to the big-eyed demonic beast, it could not be any smaller. This petite demonic beast had a total of 9 tails. From time to time, a charming cold light would shoot out from its eyes. 9-tailed demonic fox. Ning Yu's gaze directly avoided the big-eyed demonic beast and fell on the smaller demonic beast. The 9-tailed demonic fox was a rare demonic beast. According to legend, each tail of the 9-tailed demonic fox was equivalent to a life. The 9-tailed demonic fox before him had a total of 9 lives. This meant that she still had 9 more lives. However, the reason why Ning Yu's gaze fell on the 9-tailed demonic fox was not because it was rare in the world. It was because he could feel the main ingredient in refining the elixir from the 9-tailed demonic fox. It seems that the 9-tailed demonic fox is no match for the big-eyed demonic beast. Not only did Ning Yu shift his gaze to the 9-tailed demonic fox and the big-eyed demonic beast, but even the golden arowana fish king and the others shifted their gazes to the two battling parties. The battle was not at a stalemate. Instead, it was very clear. Chapter 1606. Foresight. Palace Lord, should we leave as soon as possible? The golden arowana fish king shifted his gaze to Ning Yu. Both the 9-tailed fox and the large-eyed demonic beast were exceptionally powerful. At the very least, on the surface, the 9-tailed fox and the big-eyed demonic beast were both early-stage Sky Supremes. It was unwise to make an enemy out of the 9-tailed fox and the large-eyed demonic beast at this time. Let's wait and see. Ning, you didn't want to leave just yet. At this point, Ning Yu was almost certain that the 9-tailed fox possessed the main ingredient needed to refine the pill. He had been searching the Moling mountain range for over an hour, but hadn't found anything. Now that there was a chance to find the main ingredient, he naturally didn't want to give it up so easily. However, even though Ning Yu wanted the main ingredient, he did want to act rashly. The large-eyed demonic beast wasn't simple, and Ning Yu wasn't confident that he could take it down. Moreover, Ning Yu didn't know if the large-eyed demonic beast had any helpers behind it, so he wanted to observe the situation and figure out the specifics of the situation first. Boom! While Ning Yu and the others were observing the situation, the battle in the distance had reached an extremely dangerous stage. The large-eyed demonic beast looked massive, but it was actually extremely agile. In the face of the large-eyed demonic beast's powerful attacks, the 9-tailed fox could only bitterly defend and was unable to mount any effective resistance. How dare you steal something that belongs to me? You must be tired of living. The large-eyed demonic beast scolded as it fought. Not only will I kill you today, little 9-tailed fox, but I will also exterminate the entire 9-tailed fox clan. Not a single one will be spared. The Starsky flower belongs to the 9-tailed fox clan. Although the 9-tailed fox was at an absolute disadvantage, she still said coldly, 3 years ago you stole the Starsky flower from the 9-tailed fox clan. I'm merely returning it to its rightful owner. Returning it to its rightful owner? You make it sound too easy. I spent a total of 3 years nurturing the Starsky flower until it fully bloomed. But you actually want to sit back and reap the benefits. The big-eyed demonic beast raised an eyebrow and said darkly, Fine, I'll kill you first. Then I'll uproot the nine-tailed fox clan. Whoosh! As he spoke, the big-eyed demonic beast's body flashed, and he charged at the nine-tailed demon fox. Rumble. Originally, the nine-tailed fox was already no match for the large-eyed Yao beast. Now that the large-eyed Yao beast was going all out, the nine-tailed fox was even more incapable of holding on. She was forced to retreat again and again. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before the nine-tailed fox was killed by the large-eyed demonic beast. Got it. At this time, the golden arowana fish king slapped his thigh and said, "Palace lord, you don't want to leave. Are you waiting for the sandpiper and clam to fight each other and reap the benefits?" Benefit my ass. Ningyu raised his right hand and smacked the golden arowana fish king's head. Hurry up and hide in the void. No one is to come out without my order. Buzz! Buzz! After saying that, Ningyu didn't wait for the golden arowana fish king and the others to react. He immediately dove into the void and hid himself. Ningyu's actions left the golden arowana fish king and the others scratching their heads in confusion. Trusting Ningyu, the golden arowana fish king and the others tore through the void and dove in. Whoosh! Whoosh! Not long after Ningyu and the golden arowana fish king hid in the void, the space behind the nine-tailed fox and the big-eyed demonic beast suddenly cracked. In the next moment, several figures appeared from the two cracks in the space. The nine-tailed fox and the big-eyed demonic beast also quickly retreated. The big-eyed demonic beast retreated, not because he was afraid of the nine-tailed fox's strength, but because he noticed that the 8 nine-tailed foxes behind the nine-tailed fox were all powerful. Each of the 8 nine-tailed foxes was an early heavenly supreme. However, the big-eyed demonic beast wasn't particularly afraid, because there were also 4 early heavenly supreme demonic beasts behind him. If the two sides were to fight to the death, it was hard to tell who would emerge victorious. No wonder you dared to steal the starlight flower alone. So there's someone here to receive you. The big-eyed demonic beast locked his gaze on the nine-tailed fox and said coldly, "But do you think you can kill me with these Tom, Dick, and Harry?" The nine-tailed fox's expression was calm, and there wasn't the slightest hint of joy or anger in her tone. "No, I advise you to hand over the starlight flower as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll cut your head off." The big-eyed demonic beast took a step forward and said coldly, "Russell." Seeing the big-eyed demonic beast's action, the 4 early heavenly supreme demonic beasts behind him all took a step forward, ready to fight. Gulp. The golden arowana fish king and the others, who were hiding in the void, all saw what happened. At this moment, the golden arowana fish king couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. Fortunately, Ningyu had asked them to hide in the void. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable if they attracted the nine-tailed fox's attention. On the nine-tailed fox's side, there were a total of 9 early heavenly supreme demonic beasts. On the big-eyed demonic beast side, there were 5 early heavenly supreme demonic beasts. In total, there were a total of 14 early heavenly supreme demonic beasts. If they were to discover his whereabouts, the consequences would be unimaginable. How did you find out? In the void, Guoliang looked at the 2 sides in the distance, then turned to Ningyu and asked in confusion. Not only was Guoliang confused, but even Grandmaster Xingyan was confused. That was because Guoliang and Grandmaster Xingyan hadn't found any clues. In their opinion, there weren't any other heavenly supreme demonic beasts in the vicinity except for the nine-tailed fox and the big-eyed demonic beast. But now there were more than a dozen heavenly supreme demonic beasts. How could they not be shocked? In response to Guoliang and Grandmaster Xingyan's doubts, Ningyu only smiled and didn't answer. It wasn't that Ningyu didn't want to answer, but that he couldn't. He was able to discover the demonic beasts hidden in the void because of the sapling's powerful perception. He couldn't tell Grandmaster Xingyun and the others that it was the sapling who discovered them, could he? Look, they're fighting again. Since Ningyu didn't answer, Guoliang didn't ask any further. He shifted his gaze to the distance. At that moment, the nine-tailed fox and the big-eyed, demonic beast finally clashed again. This time, the two sides were at each other's throats, each using their full strength. The four nine-tailed foxes on the nine-tailed fox's side held back the big-eyed, demonic beasts for early heavenly supreme, demonic beasts. The remaining four nine-tailed foxes joined forces with the nine-tailed fox and launched a terrifying attack against the big-eyed, demonic beast. Die! Facing the four nine-tailed foxes, the big-eyed, demonic beast growled and instantly disappeared. Bang! The next time the big-eyed, demonic beast appeared was in front of the nine-tailed fox. The big-eyed, demonic beast extended his front claw and kicked the nine-tailed fox's chest, sending her flying. Swoosh! Chapter 1607. Chapter 1607. Refining Elixir. Oh no! Seeing the nine-tailed demon fox flying towards them, Ningyu and the others who were hiding in the void all had ugly expressions on their faces. With the help of Master Xingyun's elixir transformation soul power, Ningyu and the others didn't believe that they would be discovered by the nine-tailed fox and the big-eyed demonic beast. However, the situation had become extremely dangerous, because the nine-tailed fox was flying in their direction. Indeed, the nine-tailed fox and the big-eyed demonic beast couldn't discover them, but the battle between two early heavenly supreme demonic beasts was bound to be very powerful. Ning-Yu didn't have absolute confidence that he would come out unscathed from the aftermath of their fight. Whoosh! Just as Ning-Yu was feeling extremely nervous, a cold light suddenly shot out from the nine-tailed fox's body and rushed towards Ning-Yu before the nine-tailed fox did. Chi! The cold light was very fast, several times faster than the nine-tailed fox's. Starflower. Ning-Yu's attention was originally focused on hiding his aura. However, when Ning-Yu realized that the cold light coming towards him was from the starflower, he was momentarily dazed. Without a doubt, the starflower was the main ingredient they were looking for. With the starflower, Master Xingyun would be able to refine elixir, allowing Xie and Guoliang to attack without restraint. The Moling mountain range was extremely dangerous. If Xie and Guoliang could attack without restraint, then this trip to the Moling mountain range would most likely destroy the sacred grade crystal mine of the Divine Emperor Palace. Please leave with the starflower. I'll look for you once I get rid of the big-eyed demonic beast. Before the starflower could reach Ning-Yu, a soft voice entered Ning-Yu's ears. Ning-Yu was slightly startled when he heard the faint sound beside his ear, after which a cold glint shot out from his eyes as he looked at the Starsky flower that was rushing towards him. You can't catch the wolf without risking the child. The Starsky flower was the only thing that could allow Xie and Guoliang to attack without restraint for a short period of time. Ning-Yu did not want to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After this is done, I want 3 petals of the Starsky flower. Ning-Yu did not immediately agree to the nine-tailed fox's request. Instead, he discussed the conditions with the nine-tailed fox. Deal. The nine-tailed fox transmitted her voice to Ning-Yu without hesitation. Take the Starsky flower and fly west from here. You'll encounter a valley in about half an hour. Throw the Starsky flower into the valley, and someone will naturally come out to receive you. No problem. After receiving the nine-tailed fox spirit's confirmation, Ning-Yu flung his sleeves, wrapped up the Starsky flower, and flew towards the west. Seeing that Ning-Yu had left, the golden arowana fish king and the others didn't dare to tarry. They hurriedly followed behind Ning-Yu and disappeared from the void. Although Ning-Yu and the others had tried their best to conceal their presence, the ripples in the air still aroused the suspicion of the large-eyed demonic beast. Raising an eyebrow, the large-eyed demonic beast unleashed its senses and probed its surroundings. "Humph, I'll take your life." Afraid that the large-eyed demonic beast would discover Ningyu's whereabouts, the nine-tailed fox immediately stopped and turned around to snort coldly at the large-eyed demonic beast before dashing away. "You want to take my life? I think you've lost your mind." Looking at the approaching nine-tailed fox, the large-eyed demonic beast's lips curled up into a smile. It raised its front claws and clawed at the void. Whoosh! Suddenly, the void cracked and a giant crack appeared. With the large-eyed demonic beast at the center, the crack slithered toward the nine-tailed fox like a wriggling snake. Whoosh! Facing the incoming crack, the nine-tailed fox's 9 tails swayed in the wind and surrounded the crack in 9 directions. Rumble! A great battle erupted in an instant. On the other side, the 9-tailed fox was still engaged in an intense battle with the large-eyed demonic beast. On the other side, Ningyu and the others had already appeared out of thin air. "Why aren't we moving?" The golden arowana fish king asked hesitantly. Not only was the golden arowana fish king confused, but Xieze and the others were also confused. This was because they had heard the 9-tailed fox's words. The 9-tailed fox had asked them to bring the starlight flower to the west of the valley. They had only traveled less than half the distance. Why did they stop? Why should we leave? Ningyu looked at the golden arowana fish king with a faint smile and said, "With the starlight flower, Grandmaster Xingyan can refine elixirs." What? Hearing Ningyu's words before the golden arowana fish king could say anything, Xiaze's face was full of surprise, and he said, "You can already refine elixirs? When can you refine them? If there are any medicinal ingredients missing, I'll go find them now." Xiaze was very nervous and looked at Ningyu with a face full of hope. Whether Grandmaster Xingyan could refine elixirs meant that he could use his full strength without restraint. This was the Moling mountain range. The stronger one was, the safer they would be. "The few of you go and protect the surroundings. Remember, don't let anyone disturb me and Grandmaster Xingyan." Ningyu waved his hand, indicating for Xieze and the others to go and protect the surroundings to prevent demonic beasts or humans from disturbing Grandmaster Xingyan. After all, this was the depths of the Moling mountain range. It was extremely dangerous. If they were not careful, they could be surrounded by demonic beasts. Grandmaster Xingyan needed an extremely quiet environment to refine elixirs and could not be disturbed by anyone. Sha! Although Xieze and the others were confused. Since Ningyu had put it this way, it would be a little unreasonable for them to not go and protect the surroundings. Stepping forward, the golden arowana fish king, Bada, Taoist master GMO, Xieze and Guoliang spread out, carefully guarding the surroundings. After the golden arowana fish king and the others hid, Ningyu took out the starlight flower and asked Grandmaster Xingyan, "How many elixirs can you refine with this starlight flower?" "The herbs I have on me right now are only enough to refine 1 cauldron of elixirs, so you only need to give me a petal." Grandmaster Xingyan broke off a petal from the starlight flower and returned it to Ningyu. Ningyu took the starlight flower and put it into his storage ring. After thinking for a while, Ningyu said, "Oh, right. How soon can you refine elixirs?" 1 hour. Grandmaster Xingyan stretched out a finger and said, "Originally, I needed a few hours to refine elixirs, but after the last trial, I already have experience, so this time I can refine elixirs in an hour." Swoosh! As he spoke, Grandmaster Xingyan shook his wrist and took out his cauldron and threw it into the air. As for Grandmaster Xingyan himself, he took out a storage bag and poured all the herbs in it on the ground. Next, a scorching flame appeared on the fingertip of Grandmaster Xingyan's left hand and continuously burned the bottom of the cauldron. His right hand was methodically arranging the herbs. In order to refine elixirs, all the herbs must be categorized and then refined bit by bit. Refining elixirs that could allow Xieze and the others to act without restraint in a short period of time was a big deal. A slight mistake would cause them to lose everything. Chapter 1608. Chapter 1608. Chapter 1608 Success Rumble. Grandmaster Xingyan was indeed worthy of being alchemist whose soul power had reached the level of liquid to pill. His alchemy technique was superb. Even though Ningyu's soul force had reached the level of breaking through to the Emperor realm in his previous life, he couldn't help but be moved at this moment. Portions of medicinal herbs were being refined at a rapid speed. After refining a set of medicinal ingredients, Master Xingyan would take out a jade bottle and store the pure medicinal liquid inside. It only took Master Xingyan 20 minutes to completely refine 20 sets of medicinal ingredients. Go in. After refining 20 sets of medicinal ingredients, Master Xingyan threw the starry sky petal into the cauldron. He waved both of his hands, and the raging flame quickly burned the bottom of the cauldron. Chi-chi. Following the gradual roasting of the flames, the temperature at the bottom of the pill furnace rose higher and higher. In the end, it even emitted a sizzling sound, and the starry sky flower petal inside the pill furnace, under such a high temperature, also turned into a drop of crystal clear liquid. All of you go in. Sensing the change in the starry sky petals, Grandmaster Xingyan hurriedly threw the 20 jade bottles into the furnace. His powerful soul force also entered the furnace. Kacha! As soon as the 20 jade bottles entered the pill furnace, they exploded together. 20 portions of medicinal liquid were poured into the pill furnace. If someone was in the pill furnace at this moment, they would definitely notice that the drop of liquid formed from the starry petals was actually moving back and forth in the pill furnace. Every time the liquid moved, it would devour a portion of the medicinal liquid. It only took the liquid 5 minutes to completely devour the 20 portions of medicinal liquid. After swallowing 20 portions of medicinal liquid, the liquid instantly turned into the embryonic form of a medicinal pill. Divide. Grandmaster Xingyan had sharp eyes and quick hands. The moment the liquid turned into the shape of the pill, he hastily used his powerful soul power to split the pill into two, turning it into 2 pills. After successfully splitting the pill into 2, Master Xingyan slowly exhaled a mouthful of murky air. His eyebrows revealed a look of relief. The formation of 2 pill embryonic forms meant that there was a 50% chance of refining 2 pills. But even so, Master Xingyan didn't let his guard down. He was still refining carefully. The closer he got to the end, the more careful he had to be. At this moment, Master Xingyan was even more nervous than before. It seems like Grandmaster Xingyan will be able to increase his soul power to the Emperor realm soon. Master Xingyan was wholeheartedly refining pills, but Ningyu's attention was on Master Xingyan. Originally, the strength of Grandmaster Xingyan's soul force was at the level of liquid into Dan. After the decline of Nebula Academy, the establishment of Supreme Palace, and the continuous refining of these heaven-defying Dan, Grandmaster Xingyan's soul force had reached the level of liquid into Dan. Under the heavy pressure, Master Xingyan was about to break through. Ningyu was clear that if Master Xingyan made a breakthrough, not only would his soul force reach the Emperor realm, his cultivation might even reach the pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign realm. Drip, drip. Time passed by quickly. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. When the first minute of the second hour arrived, Master Xingyan slapped the furnace with his right hand. Bang! Suddenly, the pill lid flew up and 2 round pills shot out from the pill furnace. Where are you going? Both of Grandmaster Xingyan's feet landed on the ground. In an instant, he grabbed the 2 pills in his hands. Voila! From afar, Xiaozhe and Guiliang saw that Grandmaster Xingyan had successfully concocted the pill. They didn't care about being a protector anymore and hurriedly flew over, staring at Grandmaster Xingyin. However, under the blazing gazes of Xie Zhe and Guoliang, Grandmaster Xingyin slowly came before Ningyu and handed the 2 pills over to Ningyu. Rest for a while. We'll continue our journey 10 minutes later. Ningyu received the 2 pills and threw them into his interspatial ring. At the same time, he told Grandmaster Xingyin to rest as soon as possible. As for Xie Zhe and Guoliang's blazing gazes, Ningyu wasn't concerned about it. The elixir must be in his hands. Ningyu understood this logic. It was fine if he handed the elixir to Xie Zhe, but it would be a problem if he handed it to Guoliang. After all, Xie Zhe's life was in Ningyu's hands. As for Guoliang, he was only trying to get rid of the poison in his body. Therefore, even if he handed the elixir over, it would be given to Xie Zhe and not Guoliang. What do you mean by this? Seeing that Ningyu accepted the elixir, Guoliang's expression turned ugly. He said in a deep voice, "This is the Moling mountain range. If you give us the elixir, we'll be able to deal with any danger. You must give us an explanation for what you're doing now. What you said is not without reason." Ningyu pondered for a moment. Then he flicked his wrist and threw one of the elixirs to Xie Zhe. He said, "If there's any danger, swallow the elixir immediately. We'll buy you a few seconds to refine the elixir." Slap! Xie Zhe's eyes were blazing as he caught the elixir. 1 elixir meant 10 minutes for him to act recklessly. How could Xie Zhe not be excited? Although he was excited, Xie Zhe didn't let it get to his head. He knew what Ningyu's intention in giving him the pill was. After sorting out his thoughts, Xie Zhe said to Guoliang, "Guoliang, don't you trust me? With me around, you won't be in danger." At this moment, Xie Zhe was acting righteously, as if he was willing to do anything for his brother. All right. Guoliang's gaze swept over Xie Zhe, then looked at Ningyu. In the end, he said helplessly, "With Xie Zhe around, I can rest assured." "Oh right, where are we going now?" Seeing that Guoliang was no longer complaining, Xie Zhe turned to look at Ningyu and asked, "Are we going to the valley or the deepest part of the Moling mountain range, as the 9-tailed demon fox said?" "To the valley," the 9-tailed demon fox said. Ningyu said without hesitation. In fact, Ningyu knew better than anyone that if they left now, the 9-tailed demon fox would definitely be able to find them by following their scent. After all, he didn't know the 9-tailed fox clan's influence in the Moling mountain range. So, Ningyu decided to go to the valley first and think about it later. In any case, Grandmaster Xingyin had refined 2 elixirs. If the 9-tailed fox clan dared to plot against him, he didn't mind letting Xie Zhe make a move and completely eradicate the 9-tailed fox clan. If the enemy doesn't offend me, I won't offend them. If the enemy offends me, I will return it tenfold. This was Ningyu's code of conduct. 10 minutes passed quickly. 10 minutes later, the golden arowana fish king and Bada walked at the front. In the middle were Ningyu, Grandmaster Zhao, and Grandmaster Xingyin. As for the back, it was Master GMO and Xie Zhe. The reason why Ningyu chose to put Xie Zhe and Guoliang at the back was because he didn't know what dangers lay ahead. With this arrangement, even if they encountered danger, the golden arowana fish king and Bada could hold them off and buy time for Xie Zhe to refine the elixir. Buzz. But what Ningyu and the others didn't know was, not long after they left, the space in this area suddenly cracked. Chapter 1609. Chapter 1609. Chapter 1609, the most beautiful manher, jet black hair, crescent-shaped eyebrows, delicate nose, and graceful figure were all dazzling and mesmerizing. However, the 9-tailed fox's face was slightly pale, and even its breath was slightly weak. "I will definitely take revenge for this." The 9-tailed fox clenched her fists tightly as an expression of extreme hatred appeared on her face. The nine-tailed fox still felt a lingering fear when she recalled the earlier battle. If it weren't for the 8 nine-tailed foxes risking their lives to resist, she definitely wouldn't have been able to escape from the big-eyed, demonic beast. In order to cover her escape, the fate of the other 8 nine-tailed foxes could be imagined. They definitely did not have a good ending. With the ferocity of the big-eyed, demonic beast, it was destined to kill all 8 of the nine-tailed foxes. I must return to the valley as soon as possible. The nine-tailed fox spirit was not an indecisive fox. In fact, if she did not return to the valley as soon as possible, the entire nine-tailed fox clan would face a calamity when the large-eyed, demonic beast arrived. Whoosh! With both feet on the ground, the nine-tailed fox's body turned into an afterimage and disappeared in an instant. Foxman Valley was located in the depths of the Moling mountain range, surrounded by mountains. Because Foxman Valley was surrounded by mountains, it had a special geographical location. There was only one way to enter Foxman Valley, and that was to enter from the entrance. The entrance to Foxman Valley was extremely narrow, and it could only fit one person at a time. Therefore, Foxman Valley was easy to defend and hard to attack. As long as one expert stood guard at the entrance, it would be very difficult for others to enter. Voila! At that moment, the void not far from Foxman Valley suddenly split open, and a group of people appeared. Without a doubt, these people were Ningyu and the others. Ever since Grandmaster Xing Yin refined the 2 pills, Ningyu and the others had been advancing nonstop. Finally, hard work paid off. After searching for half an hour, Ningyu and the others found the valley that the nine-tailed fox had mentioned. However, Ningyu did not foolishly follow the nine-tailed fox's instructions and tossed the Starsky flower into the valley. Instead, he stayed near the valley. Grandmaster Xing Yin, try to find out how many nine-tailed demon foxes there are in this valley. Ningyu looked at the valley and said to Grandmaster Xing Yin, "Xiao." Master Xing Yin released his perception and carefully probed the valley. After a while, Master Xing Yin retracted his perception and his face turned grave. There are only 3 nine-tailed foxes above the heavenly sovereign realm in the valley. 2 are late-phase heavenly sovereigns, and 1 is a pinnacle heavenly sovereign. You're right. There are 3 heavenly sovereigns in the valley. However, before Grandmaster Xing Yin could finish a sentence, he was interrupted by an indifferent voice. Buzz! Then, a space not far from Grandmaster Xing Yin suddenly split open and a man stepped out. Beautiful! If there was one word to describe this man, it would be beautiful. To describe it with one word, it was absolutely beautiful. Ever since his rebirth, Ningyu had never seen such a beautiful man. The nine-tailed fox clan is indeed extraordinary. Ningyu didn't frown. He vaguely felt that he would gain a lot from this trip to the valley. Regarding Ningyu's inner thoughts, the absolute beauty didn't want to ask. He moved his feet and appeared in front of Ningyu in 3 steps. He extended his right hand and said, "Your mission is over. Hand over the starflower and leave." Ning, didn't take out the starflower immediately. He was thinking of a countermeasure. The man's cultivation was only at the late phase, heavenly supreme. Although his cultivation was high, Ningyu wasn't afraid. After all, Xieze was a pinnacle heavenly supreme. If Xieze made a move, he would be able to take down the man quickly. However, Ningyu didn't plan to do that. Because Ningyu wanted to enter the valley, Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, "The nine-tailed fox who gave me the starflower told me to wait for her here. If she doesn't come, I won't give it to anyone." Yes, the man's face darkened when he heard Ningyu's reply. The man had long since made up his mind that he had to get his hands on the starflower. The matter of the starflower was of utmost importance. It concerned whether or not he could control the entire nine-tailed fox clan. In truth, the matter of the large-eyed Yao beast chasing after the nine-tailed fox was a secret leaked by the man. He wanted to join forces with the large-eyed Yao beast to kill the nine-tailed fox. As a condition, the the man was willing to give up 8 nine-tailed foxes at the Sky Supreme realm, and the large-eyed Yao beast had to give him the starflower. Just over an hour ago, the large-eyed Yao beast had used a secret technique to tell the man that the starflower had been taken by someone else and that he had to think of a way to intercept it. The man's plan was simple. First, he would snatch the Star Heaven flower, then kill Ningyu and the others. Now that Ningyu didn't know how to appreciate his kindness, the man was naturally furious. Humph! Since you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit, I'll kill all of you today. The man snorted coldly and unleashed his aura. At the same time, he charged at Ningyu. The man was a late-stage Sky Supreme. Ning, you definitely wouldn't be able to block his all-out attack. So when he saw the man about to strike Ningyu's chest, Xie Zhe opened his mouth wide and hurriedly threw the pill in. Don't! Xie Zhe had just thrown the pill into his mouth, but before he could even refine it, Ningyu's anxious voice rang out in his ear. Good steel should be used on the blade's edge. Now is not a time of life and death. You must listen to my orders. Without my permission, don't swallow the pill on your own. Ningyu hurriedly stopped Xie Zhe when he saw that Xie Zhe wanted to swallow the pill to increase his strength. After stopping Xie Zhe, Ningyu took out the Starsky flower from his storage ring and sniffed it hard. I advise you to stop. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that the Starsky flower won't be damaged. Ningyu said. Ningyu's bold move directly stunned the absolutely beautiful man on the spot. The killing intent in the man's eyes didn't weaken. Instead, it became more and more intense. From the actions of the peerlessly beautiful man, everyone knew that Ningyu was doomed. It had to be said that Ningyu did have some guts to threaten a late-stage Sky Supreme with the starflower. Wait! Finally, the killing intent in the man's eyes completely disappeared. The starflower was something that the man had to obtain. Whether or not he could obtain the starflower would determine whether or not he could rule over Foxman Valley. What are your conditions? Why don't you tell me? The man waved his hand. As long as you give me the starflower, I can swear a heavenly Tao oath and let you go. Sorry, I don't want to leave anymore. Chapter 1610. Chapter 1610. Green Fox. Oh! The man raised his eyebrows, as if he was surprised by Ningyu's courage. In his opinion, the Golden Arowana King was the one with the highest cultivation among Ningyu's group. But even the Golden Arowana King was only a 9th grade Earth Supreme, not even a Heavenly Supreme. The man couldn't understand why Ningyu wanted to enter the valley. Of course, Xie Zhe and Guoliang were both pinnacle heavenly sovereigns. Even if they didn't consume any elixirs, the man wouldn't be able to detect them if they wanted to hide their auras. In the man's mind, Xie Zhe and Guoliang were only ordinary 9th grade Earth sovereigns, nothing to be afraid of. You want to enter the Foxman Valley? The man stared at Ningyu with interest. Think about it carefully. The Foxman Valley is an important place for the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. No human or demonic beast other than the Nine-Tailed Fox clan has ever entered it. Aren't you afraid that I'll do something to you inside? Of course I'm afraid. Ningyu shrugged. But I have the Starsky flower, so you won't dare to do anything to me. If you do, I'll destroy the flower immediately. As he spoke, Ningyu exerted some force in his right hand, as if he wanted to crush the flower. No, don't. Please don't. Ningyu's action shocked the man. It didn't matter if the flower was destroyed. After all, the man wasn't concerned about the flower, but what was inside it. As expected of a late-stage, heavenly supreme, 9-tailed fox clan, the man was afraid of arousing Ningyu's suspicion. The pinnacle heavenly supreme of the 9-tailed fox clan is heavily injured, and urgently needs the Starsky flower to heal. So please don't destroy it. Did the sun rise from the west? Ningyu frowned slightly at the man's anxious words. He had a feeling that things weren't that simple. Sapling, carefully inspect the star sky flower for me and see what secrets it has. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu threw the starsky flower into his storage ring. Then he extended his right hand and pointed at the entrance of Foxman Valley. Please, please. Although he was very angry in his heart, the beautiful man still had to pretend to be hospitable. If he could obtain the starsky flower, the absolute beauty would have a high chance of controlling Foxman Valley. If he couldn't obtain it, then Foxman Valley would most likely be taken by his rival, the nine-tailed demon fox. I must obtain the starsky flower and then grind your bones to dust. The beautiful man looked at the backs of Ningyu and the others, and his face turned ashen. However, for the sake of the big picture, the beautiful man decided to endure the humiliation and wait until they entered Foxman Valley. Shoo! As soon as he entered Foxman Valley, Ningyu felt a cold light coming at him. Without much time to think, Ningyu quickly moved his head to the other side. Chi! A cold glint flashed across Ningyu's face, and with an extremely terrifying speed, he rushed towards the beautiful man at the back. Not good. The sudden change in events caused the heart of the peerlessly beautiful man to tremble, and he cried out in his heart. With a flick of his wrist, a cold light flew out from his sleeve and collided with the first cold light. The two beams of cold light collided and quickly dissipated between the heavens and earth. Another late stage, heavenly supreme, nine-tailed demon fox. Ning, you looked to the front, only to see a beautiful figure appear before him. The cultivator who attacked him with the cold light was this late stage, heavenly supreme, nine-tailed demon fox. She was different from the beautiful man. The beautiful man was a man, but this late stage, heavenly supreme, nine-tailed demon fox was a woman. Green Fox, what do you want? Seeing the late stage, heavenly supreme, nine-tailed demon fox blocking their way, the beautiful man clenched his fists and his face turned sinister. These are my invited guests. Get lost. Haha, Black Fox, do you have any proof that you invited them? The nine-tailed fox, who was called Green Fox, smiled and said, These are obviously guests invited by my sister. I hope you know your place. You. Black Fox's nose was crooked from anger. He and Qing, who were both late phase heavenly sovereigns. But compared to the latter, he was much weaker. If they were to fight, he wasn't confident in defeating Green Fox. What about you? Go somewhere cool and stay there. Qing, who glared fiercely at Ink Fox, and then looked at Ningyu and the others. She smiled and said, Please follow me. Without waiting for Ningyu's reply, Green Fox turned and walked into the depths of Foxman Valley. Seeing Green Fox leave, the Golden Arowana Fish King and the others looked at each other, then at Ningyu. The Golden Arowana Fish King and the others could tell that Green Fox was also a late-stage Heavenly Supreme. Compared to Black Fox, the Golden Arowana Fish King and the others wanted to go with Green Fox. Are we going or not? The Golden Arowana Fish King asked hesitantly as he watched Azure Fox's figure disappear into the distance. Be careful. Ningyu patted the Golden Arowana Fish King's shoulder and said to Black Fox, What are you waiting for? You're the host here. Do you want me to lead the way? Ink, who was slightly stunned when he heard Ningyu's words, and he felt that it was slightly unbelievable. Wasn't Ningyu related to Green Fox's big sister? Why would she choose to be with him? All kinds of questions arose in Black Fox's mind. But soon, Black Fox threw these questions to the back of his mind. Since Ningyu had decided to be with him, he had a chance to snatch the starry sky flower. Let's go. Ink Fox sorted out his thoughts and then moved his feet. He quickly walked into Foxman Valley. Damn it. Green Fox stopped in the distance, her face extremely gloomy. She was furious that Ningyu had chosen Black Fox instead of her. After all, she had boasted to her sister not long ago. now that Ningyu had left with the starry sky flower and Black Fox. She was naturally furious. I don't believe it. Today, I will definitely. Green Fox clenched her fists and said coldly. However, Qinghu had only spoken halfway when she stopped abruptly. After that, Qinghu could not be bothered with Ningyu anymore. Her figure flickered and disappeared in an instant. Green Fox left Foxman Valley, while Black Fox brought Ningyu and the others to a pavilion. You can rest in this pavilion. I have an important matter to attend to. Ink Fox pointed at the pavilion, which was not too big, and said, I will definitely be back in 10 minutes. It's fine. Go ahead and do what you need to do. We'll rest in the pavilion for a while. Ningyu waved his hand and stepped out with his right foot, walking towards the pavilion step by step. Go in, go in. Chapter 1611. A precious thing. Oh, right. However, when Ningyu was one step away from the pavilion, he suddenly stopped. Turning to look at Ink, Ningyu said, there are a total of 3 heavenly sovereigns in this valley. One is you, another is the 9-tailed fox, and the last one is a pinnacle heavenly sovereign. I wonder if we can go and meet him. Damn it. Seeing that Ningyu had stopped in his tracks, Ink Fox was so angry that he cursed. He had arranged everything, and it could be said that everything was ready except for the right thing. As long as Ningyu stepped into the pavilion, he would immediately activate the array and trap Ningyu inside. But now, not only did Ningyu not enter the pavilion, he even wanted to meet a pinnacle heavenly sovereign. Ink Fox was so angry that his nose became crooked. Although he was angry, Ink Fox still smiled obsequiously on the surface and said, I might not be able to see the ancestor today. How about this? All of you rest here tonight. Tomorrow morning, I will immediately bring all of you to see the ancestor. As you wish. Ningyu waved his hand and said, If there's nothing else, you can go now. We're tired from the long journey and need to rest. No problem. Although he wanted to kill Ningyu immediately, he had no choice but to endure it. The starry heaven flower was in Ningyu's hands, so Ink Fox did not dare to do anything. Voila! In the next moment, Ink Fox's figure gradually became illusory, and he vanished in the blink of an eye. Everyone, stay where you are. After Ink Fox disappeared, Ningyu immediately sat on the ground and slowly closed his eyes. Since even Ningyu had sat down cross-legged, the other golden arowana fish kings naturally didn't dare to be negligent. They all sat on the ground and closed their eyes to rest like Ningyu. This doesn't make sense. How could they know that there is a formation in the pavilion? In the void, Ink did not leave. He had been watching Ningyu's every move. Ink Fox had spent a lot of effort to set up the formation in the pavilion. When setting up the array formation, Ink's idea was very simple. He wanted to use the array formation to trap the upper echelons of Foxman Valley. Now, he had lured Ningyu and the others here to obtain the Starsky flower. Let's wait a little longer. Ink Fox's eyes were fixed on Ningyu. He wanted to see what Ningyu was up to. For a moment, the area became quiet. Whoosh! 10 minutes later, a soft voice traveled into Ink's ears. I can't believe it. The voice that rang in Ink's ears caused his expression to change drastically. He could not help but curse. Ink, who didn't have time to think, he immediately tore open the void and left without looking back. Who? Ningyu and the others heaved a sigh of relief when Ink Fox left completely. To be honest, it was a little difficult to pretend to be calm in front of Ink Fox. No matter what, Ink Fox was a late-stage Sky Supreme, so he still felt some pressure. Grandmaster Zhao, are you confident that you can break this array formation? Ningyu pointed at the pavilion in front of him and asked. Grandmaster Zhao did not answer Ningyu immediately. Instead, he released his perception and began to probe the array formation in the pavilion. No one disturbed Grandmaster Zhao while he was probing. 5 minutes later, Grandmaster Zhao's expression was solemn as he said to Ningyu, I need at least 3 hours to completely break the array formation. No, 3 hours is too long. Ning Yu shook his head. Can you hurry up? Half an hour. You only have half an hour. Half an hour is fine, but I can't break the array formation in half an hour. I can only change the structure of the array formation and turn it into another array formation, Grandmaster Zhao said. Why didn't you say so earlier? Hearing Grandmaster Zhao's words, Ningyu rolled his eyes. Quickly change the structure of the array formation and turn it into another array formation. No problem. Grandmaster Zhao did not argue with Ningyu. He first walked around the pavilion, then waved his hands. In an instant, 2 cold rays shot out from his sleeves and charged towards the pavilion. Sizzle! Without a doubt, a transparent barrier appeared around the pavilion before the cold rays even entered. Under the obstruction of the barrier, the cold rays were quickly defeated. I need the help of the golden arowana fish king and the rest. Grandmaster Zhao stared at the barrier and said, have them attack the 3 barriers with all their might to buy me some time. Go. Ningyu pointed at the pavilion with his right hand. Swish! The golden arowana fish king, Bada, and Chiemo each took a side and attacked the barrier according to Grandmaster Zhao's instructions. Crack! Even though the golden arowana fish king and Bada were all pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns, their attacks couldn't break the barrier. Even though they couldn't break the barrier, they did buy Grandmaster Zhao some time. Grandmaster Zhao stopped in front of the barrier that wasn't attacked and formed seals with both hands, changing the structure of the array. Grandmaster Zhao is indeed a talent. After this trip to the Moling Mountain Range, I'll think of a way to rescue his granddaughter and make her join the Supreme Palace wholeheartedly. Looking at Grandmaster Zhao changing the structure of the array, Ningyu secretly made up his mind to tie Grandmaster Zhao to him, no matter what. Grandmaster Zhao's attainments in array formations could be described as heaven-defying. In fact, Ningyu was planning to hand over the miscellaneous sacred scripture that he obtained from the Great Xia Kingdom's Zhang clan, the chapter on array formations in the Ghost Hatchet Divine Scroll, to Master Zhao, allowing Master Zhao's attainments in array formations to improve further. Ever since he obtained the Ghost Hatchet Godly Scroll, Ningyu didn't have much time to study it. On one hand, Ningyu's soul force wasn't too strong. On the other hand, Ningyu knew that he was weak. If he recklessly exposed the Ghost Hatchet Godly Scroll, it might bring him a fatal disaster. But it was different now. Ningyu had established the Supreme Palace. There were pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns like the Golden Arowana Fish King, Bada, and Dao Master GMO. There were also pinnacle sky sovereigns like Xia Zhe and Guoliang. At this time, even if he exposed the Ghost Hatchet Godly Scroll, it wouldn't matter. He didn't have to worry about anyone spying on him. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu didn't think too much about it and started to contact the sapling. Not long ago, Ningyu threw the Starsky flower into his spatial ring and instructed the sapling to carefully detect the Starsky flower. With the sapling's ability, it should be able to detect the Starsky flower after such a long time. Sapling, what exactly is inside the Starsky flower? Ningyu didn't beat around the bush and asked directly. There is something, and it's something extremely precious. The sapling's expression became extremely solemn when it heard Ningyu, and it said in a low voice, however, with your current strength, you won't be able to suppress it even if you withdraw the thing within the Starsky flower. Oh, Ningyu's brows twitched. I know that it's hard for me to suppress it, but you're a 6th grade Earth sovereign. Even you can't suppress it? Chapter 1612. Chapter 1612. A golden key, don't talk nonsense. Just tell me honestly what's inside the Starsky flower, Chen Feng said coldly. Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, we're in a very dangerous situation right now. There are 2 factions in Foxman Valley, the Green Fox faction and the Black Fox faction. Both factions want the Starsky flower and what's inside. If we can get our hands on what's inside the Starsky flower, we can think of a way to leave right now." Hearing Ningyu's words, one of the sapling's golden branches shook in the storage ring and said grumpily, "Do you think I don't want to get my hands on what's inside the Starsky flower? I'm even more anxious than you are. Since you want to know what's inside the Starsky flower, fine, I'll tell you. There's a key inside the Starsky flower, a golden key." "A key?" Ningyu was slightly taken aback, feeling a little confused. Didn't they say that the thing inside the Starsky flower was extremely precious? Was a key that precious? Right. Suddenly, Ningyu slapped his head and transmitted his voice to the sapling. "I can throw the Starsky flower into the Tower of Ascension and use that senior at the top of the Tower of Ascension to retrieve the key." "No, please don't." The sapling hurriedly stopped him. "The key inside the Starsky flower is of great importance. We must hold it firmly in our hands." The sapling did not trust the powerhouse at the top of the Tower of Ascension very much. From the sapling's point of view, if that powerhouse was willing to give a heaven-defying magic treasure like the Tower of Ascension to Ningyu, it meant that he was most likely up to no good. The sapling did not want to take the risk. "Then what do you think we should do?" Ningyu asked. "How about this? I'll take a small loss. I'm willing to give up 2 golden branches to help you retrieve the key." The sapling seemed to have made a big decision and said, 3 hours. You must buy me 3 hours. Buzz, buzz. As soon as it finished speaking, the sapling vanished without a trace, disappearing along with the Starsky flower. Ningyu withdrew his perception skeptically, a puzzled look on his face. Ningyu did not dare to fully believe the sapling's words. What a load of bullshit. If 2 out of 10 things that came out of the sapling's mouth could be trusted, it was already good enough. In Ningyu's opinion, this time would not be an exception. One must know that abandoning the 2 branches meant that the sapling's cultivation would drop from the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm to the 5th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. In addition, the sapling had never suffered a loss before. So Ningyu believed that the key in the Starsky flower was definitely not simple. Voila! As soon as Ningyu disconnected from the sapling, Master Zhao in the distance saw the results. Grandmaster Zhao waved his hands quickly, and an endless stream of yuan qi flowed from his palms into the array in the pavilion. He began to carefully change the structure of the array. Master Zhao was indeed a peak array master. With the help of the golden arowana fish king and the others, it only took him 20 minutes to completely change the structure of the array formation in the pavilion. "Are you done?" Seeing that Master Zhao had changed the structure of the formation, Ningyu asked. "There's still 3 minutes left." Grandmaster Zhao's expression was solemn, and he did not relax in the slightest. Even if the structure of the array was changed, Grandmaster Zhao still had not taken control of the new array. In order to take control of the new array, Grandmaster Zhao could only stretch out his right hand and hit his chest. Uft! A mouthful of blood spurted out from Grandmaster Zhao's mouth and onto the array in the pavilion. As soon as the blood came in contact with the array, a sizzling sound was heard. Soon, the blood turned into gas and fused with the new array. Phew! When the blood completely fused with the new array, Grandmaster Zhao opened his mouth and let out a long breath. Ever since Ningyu established the Supreme Palace and made Xieze and Guoliang listen to him, Grandmaster Zhao had secretly made up his mind to help Ningyu as much as possible, because only if Ningyu mobilized the upper echelons of the Supreme Palace, he would have a high chance of saving his granddaughter. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died if he relied on himself. "How is it?" Seeing Grandmaster Zhao's expression, Ningyu hurriedly asked. To Ningyu, whether Grandmaster Zhao could control the new array or not was of great significance. Ink Fox and Green Fox were both late-stage sky, supreme, 9-tailed foxes. If the 2 fought, one would definitely be injured. If Grandmaster Zhao could control the array, then they could hide in the array and watch the tigers fight. Of course, that was on the premise that they would really fight. No problem. This array is completely under my control now. Grandmaster Zhao nodded and pointed at the array in the pavilion. This array is called the Annihilation Killing Array. It can block a full-powered attack from a late-stage Sky Supreme. Grandmaster Zhao's tone was a little arrogant. Grandmaster Zhao did have the right to be arrogant by modifying an array that was several grades lower than the Annihilation Killing Array into the Annihilation Killing Array. Back in the central mainland, Grandmaster Zhao had once used 3 days to set up a super powerful killing array that killed hundreds of Demon Spirit Realm Sky Supremes and Earth Supremes in one fell swoop. It was that battle that made the Demon Spirit Realm experts remember Grandmaster Zhao's name. They decided to send Grandmaster Zhao to the Moling Mountain Range to rescue the peerless Demon Spirit Realm experts. All right, let's enter the pavilion first. Since Grandmaster Zhao had already controlled the new array, which meant that he had complete control over the Annihilation Killing Array, there was no point for Ningyu to stay outside the pavilion. He moved his feet and entered the pavilion first. Whoosh! After Ningyu entered the pavilion, the Golden Arowana King and the others also entered the pavilion. Grandmaster Zhao, does the Annihilation Killing Array have a total of 4 array cores? As he stood within the pergola, Ningyu first stretched out his perception to slightly probe the structure of the World Obliteration Slaughter Formation, and then he said, "One of them is the main formation core, the other 2 are auxiliary formation cores, and the last one is a fake formation core." "How do you know?" Grandmaster Zhao's heart trembled as he looked at Ningyu in disbelief. The Annihilation Killing Array was an ancient array. There were very few cultivators who knew the structure of the Annihilation Killing Array. The reason why Grandmaster Zhao knew about the Annihilation Killing Array was because he had flipped through ancient records in the central mainland. He knew the structure of many killing arrays. The fact that Ningyu knew about the structure of the Annihilation Killing Array had indeed exceeded Grandmaster Zhao's expectations. "You don't need to know how I know. Just tell me if the Annihilation Killing Array has 4 array cores." Ningyu wasn't very sure either. In his previous life, he had only heard about the structure of the Annihilation Killing Array from an expert. He didn't know much about the specifics. "That's right. There are indeed 4 array cores." Grandmaster Zhao nodded. "One is the main array core. I will guard it. The other auxiliary array core and fake array core can change positions at any time. There's no need to guard, rumble." However, before Master Zhao could finish his sentence, he stopped abruptly. Chapter 1613. Chapter 1613. Gathering in the pavilion so many people? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat when he saw the sudden appearance of several figures. He vaguely felt that things weren't that simple. There were a total of 4 forces in the north, south, east, and west. The force in the east was led by Black Fox, with 4 late 9th grade Earth Sovereigns behind him. The force in the south was led by a quasi-heavenly supreme, with 4 late 9th grade Earth Sovereigns behind him. There were only 3 silhouettes on the west side of the pavilion, but they were all pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. Ningyu was very familiar with the forces in the north. The ones leading them were Azure Fox and the 9-tailed Fox, who gave him the Starsky Flower. The gazes of the 4 forces all fell on Ningyu, but no one dared to act rashly. For a moment, the area became strange. "Grandmaster Zhao, how confident are you in trapping their leader with the Annihilation Killing Formation?" Since Black Fox and the others didn't speak, Ningyu naturally wouldn't break the silence. He circulated his soul force and started to transmit his voice to Grandmaster Zhao. "I'm not confident at all." Grandmaster Zhao answered without hesitation. "The Annihilation Killing Formation can withstand a fatal blow from a late Heavenly Supreme. The other side has 2 late Heavenly Sovereigns, 3 Pinnacle 9th Great Earth Sovereigns, and 1 Quasi-Heavenly Supreme. If they attack the annihilation killing formation with all their strength, it's very likely that it will be broken within 3 minutes. Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat. The annihilation killing formation must not be broken. Otherwise, they would be doomed today. Ning Yu had no choice but to break the silence and loudly said, "Since you've come from afar, why don't you come in and have a chat?" "No problem." As soon as Ning Yu's voice landed, Azure Fox and the Nine-Tailed Fox moved and entered the pavilion from the north. Whoosh! Seeing Azure Fox and the others enter the pavilion, the remaining leaders of the 3 forces also entered the pavilion in a single file. The pavilion, which wasn't particularly spacious, suddenly became a little crowded after 6 or 7 experts entered. The pavilion is a bit crowded. You guys go out first. Ning Yu waved his hand at the Golden Arowana King and the others, gesturing for them to leave. Although they did not know why Ning Yu wanted them to leave, the Golden Arowana Fish King, Grandmaster Xingyan Bada, and Dao Master GMO still left the pavilion obediently. Only Master Zhao, Xieze, and Guiliang were left on Ning Yu's side. Ink Fox and the other forces occupied one side of the pavilion, pushing Ning Yu and the others to the center of the pavilion. "Your name is Ning Yu?" In the pavilion, the quasi-heavenly sovereign raised his brows before sweeping his gaze at Ning Yu and Xieze in disdain. "I advise you to hand over the Starsky flower. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." The arrogant words of the quasi-heavenly sovereign made Ning Yu a little surprised. Logically speaking, with Ink Fox and Azure Fox around, a quasi-heavenly sovereign like him shouldn't have any authority to speak. However, the Azure Fox and Ink Fox only knitted their brows in response to the quasi-heavenly sovereign's words, but they did not reprimand him. This situation had clearly exceeded Ning Yu's expectations. He must have some trump card. From the Azure Fox and Ink Fox's reactions, Ning Yu could practically determine that the quasi-heavenly sovereign must have a trump card, and it must be a powerful one at that. Otherwise, the Azure Fox and Ink Fox wouldn't have reacted in such a manner with their late-phase heavenly sovereign cultivations. "If I hand the Starsky flower to you, what if the other 3 forces make a move against me?" After sorting out his thoughts, Ning Yu replied lightly. No matter what trump card the quasi-heavenly sovereign had, Ning Yu was fearless. If worst came to worst, he could get Xieze to take the elixir and leave the Foxman Valley with them. But before leaving the Foxman Valley, Ning Yu would definitely get Xieze to wreak havoc in this place. "What does it have to do with me, whether they make a move against you or not?" The quasi-heavenly sovereign's expression was cold as he barked. "I'll say it one last time. Hand over the Starsky flower, or I'll let you know why flowers are so red." As he spoke, the quasi-heavenly sovereign stretched out his right hand and grabbed at Ning Yu. The quasi-heavenly sovereign wasn't stupid. The reason why he made a move against Ning Yu was because he wanted to probe Ning Yu and see what Ning Yu was capable of. As for seizing the Starsky flower, Half-Step Sky Supremes didn't even think about it. Leaving the Starsky flower in Ning Yu's hands might be the best outcome. Once the quasi-heavenly sovereign took the Starsky flower, the other 3 forces would definitely make a move against him. At that time, no matter how powerful his trump cards were, he definitely wouldn't be able to defeat the other 3 forces. Grandmaster Zhao. The quasi-heavenly sovereign wanted to probe Ning Yu, but Ning Yu didn't think so. Ning Yu would never hold back against his enemies. Seeing that the quasi-heavenly sovereign was about to reach him, Ning Yu hurriedly sent a spiritual message to Grandmaster Zhao. "Trap this arrogant fellow. Rise." Grandmaster Zhao didn't dare to delay. He waved his hands, and the world-annihilating killing array quietly activated. Bang! Once the world-annihilating killing array was activated, Grandmaster Zhao sat in the center of the array and directed the world-annihilating killing array's energy towards the quasi-heavenly sovereign's chest. A crisp sound rang out. The quasi-heavenly sovereign was struck by the violent energy, and his silhouette was blown out. Bang! The quasi-heavenly sovereign had just reached the side of the pavilion when he was bounced back by a transparent barrier. Uft! After being tossed back and forth twice, the quasi-heavenly sovereign finally vomited a mouthful of blood and fell heavily to the ground. Damn it! Damn it! This is infuriating. The quasi-heavenly sovereign really was a cockroach that couldn't be killed. He hurriedly crawled up from the ground and first used his perception to probe the situation within his body. Then he swung his right hand, wanting to use his trump card to deal with Ningyu. Since we're here to discuss, there's no need for such petty tricks. At this moment, the nine-tailed fox, who had handed the Starsky flower to Ningyu, spoke. The nine-tailed fox wore a silver-white robe and her hair was coiled up. She seemed to be in high spirits and didn't seem injured at all. Others might not be able to tell, but Ningyu could. Although the nine-tailed fox appeared to be in high spirits, that wasn't the case. Her internal injuries were already beyond cure. If they weren't treated soon, she would soon die. Although Ningyu could tell that the nine-tailed fox was injured, he didn't plan on helping her. After all, among the four forces, the nine-tailed fox also wanted the Starsky flower. Before the key to the Starsky flower was extracted, Ningyu definitely wouldn't hand it over. Chapter 1614. A Chaotic Battle. White Fox, do you have the right to speak here? The quasi-heavenly sovereign glared at the white fox and coldly said, "The Starsky flower belongs to our Foxman Valley, and you actually gave it to an outsider. You deserve death." Boom! A cold voice rang out as the half-step Heaven Supreme unleashed his aura and pressed down on the white fox. MHM. Ningyu was baffled by the quasi-heavenly sovereign's actions. The white fox was indeed injured, but the azure fox beside her was a late-phase heavenly sovereign. The azure fox would definitely not allow the white fox to be injured. "I'm your opponent." But what happened next made Ningyu understand. Just when the azure fox wanted to make a move, the black fox took a step forth and stood before her. Furthermore, the other 3 pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns also swiftly made a move and faced the azure fox together with the black fox. The black fox wasn't a fool. He wasn't the azure fox's opponent in a one-on-one fight. If he wanted to obstruct the azure fox, he could only do so with the 3 pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns. Actually, the black fox had already teamed up with the other 2 forces to deal with the azure fox. Now that the opportunity was here, the black fox naturally wouldn't miss it. While dealing with the azure fox with the 3 pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns, the black fox formed seals to activate the spiritual array in the pavilion. Because Master Zhao had concealed it well when he activated the spiritual array, the black fox still hadn't noticed it. Therefore, until now, Ink, who still did not realize that the structure of the formation in the pavilion had been changed. He still foolishly thought that everything was under his control. What? Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. No matter how hard the black fox tried, he couldn't activate the spiritual array. This situation was clearly out of the black fox's expectations. What's going on? For a moment, Ink, who was stunned for a second. Boom! It was Ink Fox's momentary daze that gave Green Fox a chance. The azure fox swiftly moved and lashed out with her right leg, which landed on the black fox's chest. A huge force came from his chest, causing Ink whose body to fly backward. Master Zhao! Seeing Ink Fox being sent flying, Ningyu said anxiously. Grandmaster Zhao understood and immediately sat in the eye of the formation. He controlled the energy in the World Annihilation Killing Formation and attacked Ink Fox from another direction. Pucci! Ink, who had been severely injured by Green Fox's attack, and now he was being attacked by Master Zhao's apocalyptic killing formation. He spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot, and his face became extremely pale. Banda, if you dare to hurt a single hair on my sister, I'll definitely grind your bones to dust. Green Fox did not kill Black Fox. She wanted to save her sister, White Fox. Although the white fox was a sky supreme, it was heavily injured. If she did not help, there was a high chance that the white fox would die in Banda's hands. Ha ha ha, you want to grind my bones into dust? You should save some energy to deal with those 3 guys. Banda threw his head back and laughed. Then he ignored the green fox and focused on dealing with the white fox. The reason why Banda didn't care about Qinghu was that they had discussed it beforehand. He would deal with the white fox and black fox, and the 3-peak 9th grade Earth Supreme Martial Artist would deal with Qinghu. The 3 forces would first work together to deal with Qinghu and the white fox. Then they would discuss the ownership of the starry sky flower. I can help you deal with them, but I want to know all the secrets about the starry sky flower after we're done. White Fox's eyes were filled with fear and despair as she looked at Banda, who was getting closer and closer to her. However, the despair in White Fox's heart did not last for long. It was broken by a voice that sounded like it was asking for help. No problem. In a moment of desperation, White Fox could not care less. She said hurriedly, "As long as you can save me, everything will be fine. Remember what you said." Ningyu glanced at White Fox indifferently, then turned to Grandmaster Zhao and said, "Stop Banda." Grandmaster Zhao controlled the world annihilation killing formation. Now he had become a gun in Ningyu's hand, shooting wherever he pointed. Rumble. Under Grandmaster Zhao's control, the world annihilation killing formation was completely activated, and the energy inside began to surge. Whoosh! An extremely violent energy appeared between Banda and the white fox and blasted towards Banda in one fell swoop. "I'm going to kill him." Banda's expression changed drastically at the sudden change, and he could not help but curse. Although Banda's cultivation was not very high, his perception was very powerful. The energy that was attacking him was extremely powerful. If he was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be crippled even if he did not die. Go. In an instant, Banda made a decision to leave. Swoosh! Banda's figure flashed, and he rushed out of the pavilion at an extremely fast speed. Guoliang! Seeing that Banda was about to rush out of the pavilion, Ningyu bellowed and said coldly, "Kill him without mercy!" Boom! As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, Guoliang's body emitted a terrifying aura. A few minutes ago, Ningyu quietly handed the elixir to Guoliang and asked him to act according to his intentions. The reason why Ningyu chose to let Guoliang swallow the medicinal pill and not let Xieze swallow the medicinal pill was entirely because he had his own considerations. Xieze obeyed his every command. Guoliang was different. Ningyu was afraid that when they reached the Saint-grade origin crystal mine, Guoliang would take the opportunity to steal the Saint-grade origin crystals. Letting Guoliang consume the elixir now could also prevent some unnecessary trouble later on. Quick, use your trump card. Seeing Guoliang display the aura of a Peak Sky Supreme, Banda, the 3-peak 9th grade Earth Supreme Warriors, and even Black Fox could not help but shout. When facing a Peak Sky Supreme Warrior, they could only use their trump card. Otherwise, they would definitely die. Xieze and White Fox, follow me. Grandmaster Zhao, stay and help Guoliang and Black Fox. The battle was about to start, and Ningyu did not want to stay. He grabbed the White Fox and quickly rushed out of the pavilion. Rumble. Sure enough, as soon as Ningyu and White Fox left the gazebo, a great battle broke out inside. Banda took out a silver-white jade bottle from his bosom and crushed it with a crack. The white liquid in the jade bottle entered Banda's mouth. As the white liquid entered his stomach, Banda's cultivation instantly soared. In a short period of time, he actually reached the late-phase Sky Supreme Realm from a half-step Sky Supreme Realm. The 3-peak 9th grade Earth Sovereign's actions were similar to Banda's. Each of them took out a jade bottle and poured the elixir in it into their mouths. In just a few seconds, the cultivation of the 3-peak 9th grade Earth Sovereigns began to soar, reaching the late-phase Sky Supreme Realm in a short period of time. The battle in the pavilion was very clear. White Fox blocked Black Fox, while Banda and the three peak ninth grade Earth Sovereigns joined hands to deal with Guo Liang. Chapter 1615. Rumble, Rumble. As a huge battle broke out in the pavilion, the flames of war raged outside as well. The four late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns brought by Black Fox and the four late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns brought by three pinnacle ninth grade Earth Sovereigns joined forces to attack Ningyu's party. A total of 8 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns charged at Ningyu from all directions in an attempt to eliminate the culprit. Ningyu, all of you get out of my way. With the golden arowana Fish King and Bada around, how could they allow Ningyu to be harmed? Master GMO and Master Xing Yin stayed by Ningyu's side to prevent any accidents. The golden arowana Fish King and Bada fought with the 8 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns with all their might. Let's get out of here as soon as possible. Seeing the battle between the golden arowana Fish King and the 8 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns, White Fox hurriedly said to Ningyu, as long as we hand the Starsky Flower over to the Foxman Valley's ancestor, this battle can be stopped. Why do we have to stop this battle? Ningyu did not leave with the White Fox. Instead, he revealed a puzzled expression and said, since we've joined forces, we've already gained an absolute advantage. In at most 10 minutes, Black Fox and the others will be completely annihilated. What do you mean by leaving now? This, seeing Ningyu's confidence, White Fox did not know what to say. In White Fox's heart, he did not think highly of Ningyu. The late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns of Foxman Valley were all powerful. White Fox did not believe that the two pinnacle ninth grade Earth Sovereigns that Ningyu brought with him could deal with 8 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns. Stop this and that. Hurry up and tell me what's inside the Starsky Flower. Ningyu waved his hand and said, you promise me that if I save you, you'll tell me what's inside the Starsky Flower. There is a golden key inside the Starsky Flower. The White Fox first looked at the golden arowana Fish King and Bada, who were fighting the 8 late phase ninth grade Earth Sovereigns. When she saw that the golden arowana Fish King and Bada had the upper hand, she said, that golden key is extremely important to my nine-tailed fox clan. You have to hand it over to me, or the consequences will be unimaginable. What do you have in exchange? Ningyu ignored the second half of the White Fox's sentence. He stared at the White Fox and asked with interest, as long as you give me the key to the Starsky Flower, I can promise you 3 things. Anything. In order to obtain the key, the White Fox gritted his teeth. At this moment, the White Fox's appearance was lovely and moving. Anyone who saw her would feel pity for her. Bewitching technique. If it was someone else, they might have been tempted by the White Fox's charm technique. However, Ningyu was different. He had lived 2 lives, so his willpower was extremely calm. A mere bewitching technique was unable to entice him. Humph. Ningyu coldly snorted. I see that you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The rage in Ningyu's eyes made the White Fox's heart jolt. She was currently a prisoner, and if she provoked Ningyu, she would definitely suffer. Russell. Just thinking about it, the White Fox immediately retracted her bewitching technique and said to Ningyu, I can pay any price. I don't want to take advantage of you. Ningyu briefly pondered before he continued. I heard that the nine-tailed fox clan has a pearl, and I want that pearl. What? You want the nine-tailed pearl? This time, the White Fox's face drastically changed. The nine-tailed pearl was the ultimate treasure of the nine-tailed fox clan. Legend has it that the nine-tailed pearl could regenerate flesh and bones from the dead. Even if someone had already breathed their last, the nine-tailed pearl could still be used to revive them. Of course, The reason why the nine-tailed pearl was so powerful was that every clan leader of the nine-tailed fox clan would inject all of their essence, vitality, and spirit into the nine-tailed pearl before they passed away. Strictly speaking, not only could the nine-tailed pearl regenerate flesh and bones from the dead, but it could also speed up one's cultivation. Martial artists who were the nine-tailed pearl could achieve twice the results with half the effort in their cultivation. The nine-tailed pearl in exchange for the starry sky flower. That's my condition. Ning Yu was very smart. He was talking about exchanging the starry sky flower for the nine-tailed pearl, and not the golden medicine key for the nine-tailed pearl. After all, the sapling had boasted that the golden medicine key was extremely powerful, and Ning Yu did not want such an ultimate treasure to fall into the hands of the nine-tailed fox clan. After some time, the sapling would definitely be able to get the golden key. Therefore, there was no problem in reaching an agreement with the white fox now. Deal. The white fox seemed to have made up her mind as she gritted her teeth. I'll bring you to the nine-tailed pearl now. As she spoke, the white fox began to move, intending to leave. Hold it. Ning Yu rolled his eyes when he saw that white fox was about to leave. He snappily said, I will only go with you to obtain the nine-tailed pearl after the big battle ends. As for now, the show has just begun. Poof! When Ning Yu finished his words, there were casualties on the battlefield. The golden arowana fish king threw a punch that landed on the heart of a late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereign before him. The golden arowana fish king's punch was so powerful that it knocked out a late-stage, ninth-grade Earth supreme. Russell. In that instant, the faces of the remaining 7 late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereigns drastically changed. Although the golden arowana fish king did not kill that late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereign with a single punch, it still caused the other 7 late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereigns to feel fearful. From the previous confrontation, they already knew how powerful the golden arowana fish king and Bada were. If they continued to fight, there was a high chance that they would be heavily injured like that comrade of theirs. Call for help. The 7 late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereigns exchanged a look before their silhouettes flickered and flew in different directions. As long as there's life, there's hope. Furthermore, this was the Foxman Valley, and they could take turns to kill the golden arowana fish king, and Bada, Chiemo Ego as well. You must deal with them as soon as possible. I don't want to see any accidents. Ning Yu waved his hand and signaled for Chiemo to join the battle as well. Russell. In fact, Chiemo had long wanted to make a move. He knew better than anyone that the reason why the golden arowana fish king did not kill that late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereign was because he wanted to capture him alive to strengthen his branch hall. Under the Supreme Palace, the golden arowana fish king and Bada's branch hall were the strongest. After all, one was a golden arowana, while the other was a bloodthirsty berserk wolf. Chiemo had just joined the Supreme Palace, and if he could capture a few nine-tailed foxes, then his branch hall would be greatly strengthened. Earlier, Chiemo was anxious. Now that he heard Ning Yu's order, Chiemo immediately flew out and hollered, "Leave 3 for me!" "Ha ha ha, Chiemo, you're too late. 4 of them are mine." Looking at Chiemo, who was flying over, the golden arowana fish king laughed. "You and Bada can split the remaining 4. 3 are mine. You can have 1. Chapter 16:16. Intense battle. How unlucky. I should have applied to fight earlier. Looking at the late 9th grade Earth Sovereign that Bada kicked over, Tao Master GMO helplessly rolled his eyes before he swiftly flew out and attacked with all his might. Rumble. Tao Master GMO was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign, and the Foxman Valley's late 9th grade Earth Sovereign wasn't his opponent. In just one move, the Foxman Valley's late 9th grade Earth Sovereign was pushed back several meters. Tao Master Jimo's actions were the same as the golden arowana fish king. He did not kill the Foxman Valley's late ninth grade Earth Sovereign, but firmly restrained him. This won't do. I have to snatch a few more. After restraining the late ninth grade Earth Sovereign, Tao Master GMO immediately turned around, intending to snatch a few more nine-tailed foxes to strengthen his branch palace. I can't believe it. However, Tao Master GMO couldn't help cursing the moment he turned around. He could clearly see the remaining late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns being defeated under the joint attacks of the Golden Arowana Fish King and Bada. There were 7 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns lying on the ground. There were 4 in front of the Golden Arowana Fish King and 3 in front of Bada. Aren't you guys a little too unkind? Looking at the cultivators lying on the ground in front of the Golden Arowana Fish King and Bada, Sage Charm Devil lowered his head to look at the cultivators lying on the ground in front of him. What could he do? He naturally had to talk to the Golden Arowana Fish King and the rest. It would be best if he could get 1 or 2 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns. Gulp. Seeing the 8 late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns being defeated so quickly, the white fox couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. The late ninth grade Earth Sovereigns of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan were extremely powerful. The fact that the 3 pinnacle ninth grade Earth Sovereigns beside Ning, you could easily defeat them, proved their terrifying fighting strength. The battle over there is about to end. At this moment, Ning Yu's solemn voice resounded in the white fox's ears. Hearing that, the white fox immediately turned around and looked at the pavilion. The white fox was dumbfounded by what it saw. It stood on the spot in a daze. The battle in the pavilion was exceptionally intense. However, with the white fox's keen senses, she could tell that Green Fox and Guoliang had the upper hand. Green Fox and Grandmaster Zhao worked together and forced Ink Fox to retreat, sustaining serious injuries. Guoliang, on the other hand, was dealing with Banda and the 3 pinnacle ninth grade sovereigns by himself. No, he was dealing with Banda and the 3 late-stage sky sovereigns by himself. After all, Banda's cultivation had reached the late phase Heavenly Sovereign Realm after using his trump card. The 3 pinnacle ninth grade Earth Sovereigns had also reached the late phase Heavenly Sovereign Realm, facing 4 late-stage Sky Supremes by himself. Guoliang didn't show any signs of weakness. On the contrary, Guoliang was suppressing Banda and the rest in every way. Bang! 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 Before the white fox could recover from its daze, Guoliang seized the opportunity and punched out 3 times in a row. 3 crisp sounds rang out. Apart from Banda, the other 3 martial arts practitioners were hit in the heart, and their bodies fell heavily to the ground. Xiao! After succeeding in his attack, Guoliang did not stop his attack. Instead, he dashed forward and launched another powerful attack. Hit the snake where it hurts. Don't hold back. Guoliang knew that his time was almost up. 7 minutes had passed since he swallowed the elixir. He still had 3 minutes to attack with all his might. If he couldn't get rid of the trouble in front of him within 3 minutes, then it was very likely that he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Guoliang was different from the Golden Arowana Fish King and the others. When he made a move, it was a killing move. Crack! 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 Guoliang kicked out 3 times in a row, and each kick landed on the head of a late-stage Sky Sovereign Realm martial artist. With 3 crisp sounds, the 3 martial artists who had used their trump cards to advance to the late phase Heavenly Sovereign Realm died on the spot. Damn it! Banda's expression turned extremely grave when he saw Guoliang successfully kill the 3 companions who fought alongside him. We have to retreat. At this point, Banda was very clear about the current situation. If Guoliang could kill 3 late-stage Sky Sovereigns of the same cultivation level as him, then he could kill him. At this time, only by running away would he have a chance of survival. Uft. However, before Banda could escape, Black Fox, who was on the other side, was hit in the chest by Green Fox and Master Zhao in a moment of carelessness. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. Guoliang, you have 2 minutes left. Ning Yu had been silently counting the time. The time left for Guoliang had dropped from the initial 10 minutes to 2 minutes. It was not particularly difficult to kill Ink, Hu, and Banda, who were severely injured, in 2 minutes. A cold glint shot out of Guoliang's eyes. He instantly tore through the void and appeared in front of Banda. As he spoke coldly, Guoliang's right fist turned into a palm and slapped Banda's face hard. Slap, slap, slap. Guoliang's attack was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he had slapped hundreds and thousands of times. Banda's cheeks became bigger and bigger as Guoliang waved his right hand. By the time Guoliang stopped, Banda's head had turned into a pig's head and had expanded several times. Die. In the end, Guoliang raised his right foot and kicked Banda's heart hard. Guoliang's kick was heavy and forceful, without the slightest bit of sloppiness. Banda's heart was not particularly hard. It was directly split in half by Guoliang's terrifying kick. With his heart split in half, there was no doubt that Banda had been killed. Lunatics, you're all lunatics. Black Fox could not care less about wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. As he shouted, "Lunatics!" he clenched his right fist and punched the Annihilation Killing Formation. Black Fox knew that only by breaking the Annihilation Killing Formation could he have a chance to escape. Otherwise, he would definitely die today. However, the Annihilation Killing Formation was not something that Black Fox could break even if he wanted to. Master Zhao's attainments and formations were extremely profound. With him watching over the Annihilation Killing Formation, it would take Black Fox at least some time to break it. However, the current situation was obviously not enough to last until Black Fox broke the formation. Black Fox had no choice but to surrender after trying for a while. Extending his right hand, Black Fox hurriedly said, "I surrender. I'm at your disposal." Black Fox's sudden surrender stopped Guoliang from continuing to attack. Instead, he shifted his gaze to Ningyu. "Use your current ability to control Black Fox," Ningyu said in a deep voice. "Even if the effects of your medicine wear off, you still have to be able to control Black Fox's life and death." "No problem." Guoliang's mind moved. Then a cold light swept out of his body and entered Black Fox's heart. This cold light spread out from Black Fox's heart and firmly controlled it. Chapter 16-17. Ancestral Secrets. Very good. Guoliang followed Ningyu's instructions and controlled Ink Fox, which made Ningyu very satisfied. The reason why Ningyu let Guoliang control Ink Fox instead of killing him on the spot was entirely due to his own considerations. The Azure Fox's cultivation was in the late phase Heavenly Sovereign Realm, and if she went berserk, Ningyu could only get Xieze to take action. There were only 2 pills, and Guoliang had already used one. As for the remaining one, Ningyu planned to save it for the Saint Grade Yuan Crystal Vein. By controlling Ink Fox, he would be able to stand up to Green Fox when she launched an attack. Voila! This battle ended as quickly as it came. At this point, among the 4 forces that had just appeared, only Green Fox's and White Fox's forces remained unscathed. Apart from Ink Fox, the other 3 forces were all killed. The battle was over. Master Zhao's world exterminating killing array was instantly destroyed. Master Zhao's cultivation wasn't considered too high. Sitting in the eye of the world exterminating killing formation, the pressure he had to bear was really huge. Now that the battle was over, Master Zhao's tense nerves finally relaxed a little. "Sister," Qing, who hurriedly flashed over to the White Fox and sized it up before she asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. What could happen to me?" The White Fox smiled and said, "You. on the other hand, have just experienced a big battle and need to recuperate. Why don't you go first? Where to first? The corner of Ningyu's lips curled up, and he softly said, White Fox, can you fulfill your promise to me now? Hearing Ningyu's words, Qing revealed a puzzled expression and asked, Big sister, what did you promise him? That is to use the nine-tailed pearl to exchange for the Starsky flower, the White Fox said hesitantly. What? Green Fox immediately leaped up when she heard the words nine-tailed pearl. No, the nine-tailed pearl is the ultimate treasure of our nine-tailed fox clan. We absolutely can't use it to trade. But the Starsky flower... The White Fox hesitated. There are no buts. We can't hand over the nine-tailed pearl. But I want the Starsky flower too. Azure Fox said coldly, This is Foxman Valley. Now that our archenemy Ink Fox has been defeated, it means that our bloodline is unstoppable in Foxman Valley. We are the undisputed overlords of Foxman Valley. Absolutely not. White Fox understood better, not to mention Guo Liang's formidable strength. Even Ningyu's elusive trump card made the White Fox a little afraid. Azure Fox's intention was obviously to kill Ningyu and the others, and seize the Starsky flower by force. Don't be afraid, sister. Green Fox revealed a confident expression as she spoke in a clear voice. I can smell a poison in that Guo Liang's body. Evidently, Guo Liang is heavily injured, and he can only bring out the strength of a pinnacle heavenly sovereign for a short period of time. It has already been 10 minutes, and I can conclude that he can no longer bring out the strength of a pinnacle heavenly sovereign. As a heaven-defying demon fox of the nine-tailed fox clan, Azure Fox and her sister White Fox had very strong senses. White Fox's strength lay in her ability to detect hidden artifacts, while Azure Fox's strength lay in her ability to detect if a cultivator was injured. Are you so sure that you can defeat us? You looked at Azure Fox with interest. Just as you guessed, Guo Liang can no longer bring out the strength of a pinnacle heavenly sovereign. But Ink Fox is in our hands. Don't forget that Ink Fox is also a pinnacle heavenly sovereign. Azure Fox's heart skipped a beat. How could she have forgotten about this? However, Azure Fox only worried for a few seconds before she completely recovered and said coldly, Who does Ink Fox think he is? Who does Ink Fox think he is? I'm not afraid to tell you that our Foxman Valley's ancestor is about to come out of seclusion. As long as I can stall you for 10 minutes, the ancestor will come out. By then, how are you going to leave? Azure Fox was no fool. She dared to make things difficult for Ningyu and the others only because she knew that the Foxman Valley's ancestor was about to come out of seclusion. The Foxman Valley's ancestor was a pinnacle heavenly supreme and had even touched the threshold of a half-step saint. When the Foxman Valley's ancestor was in seclusion, he had said that he would support the faction that could find the starry flower and the golden key within it to dominate the Foxman Valley. In order to dominate the Foxman Valley and to take revenge, Azure Fox was willing to betray her trust and become enemies with Ningyu and the others. I'm going to wait here and see what kind of person your Foxman Valley's ancestor is. After hearing Azure Fox's words, Ningyu waved his hand and gestured for the golden arowana fish king and the others to rest and recuperate. Ningyu's goal had been confirmed before they entered the Foxman Valley. To obtain the nine-tailed pearl, the sacred grade mineral vein of the divine Emperor Palace, was extremely dangerous. If they could obtain a nine-tailed pearl, it would be equivalent to having an extra life. Moreover, even if they stayed, they would not be killed by the Foxman Valley's ancestor. After all, they still had an elixir. If necessary, they could let Xie Zhe swallow the elixir and fight the Foxman Valley's ancestor. Humph! Green Fox grunted coldly when she saw Ningyu and the others sit down cross-legged, and then she said, What tricks? Let me see if all of you will still be able to maintain such a composed expression when the ancestor appears later. With that, Azure Fox pulled White Fox to a spacious area and sat down. She placed her hands on White Fox's back and began to treat White Fox's injuries. White Fox was being chased by the large-eyed demonic beast. If Azure Fox had not arrived in time, White Fox would have been killed. Even though Azure Fox had arrived in time, White Fox was still severely injured, and her body had sustained severe internal injuries. Azure Fox took advantage of the time when Foxman Valley arrived to treat White Fox, trying to heal White Fox's injuries as soon as possible. While Azure Fox was treating White Fox, Ningyu and the others were resting with their eyes closed. For a moment, the area became quiet. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Whoosh! When the 11th minute arrived, the void split open, and the Foxman Valley's patriarch suddenly appeared out of the void. Swish! Seeing the Foxman Valley's ancestor, Ningyu, the golden arowana fish king, and the others immediately opened their eyes. Peak Sky Supreme, huh? Sensing the Foxman Valley's ancestor's aura, Ningyu's expression turned grave. This was Foxman Valley, and the Foxman Valley's ancestor was a Peak Sky Supreme. If the Foxman Valley's ancestor made trouble here, Sieze would have to swallow the elixir today. No. Suddenly, Ningyu's heart jumped, as if he had discovered something extremely shocking. Without a doubt, Ningyu had discovered a secret of the Foxman Valley's ancestor. On the surface, the Foxman Valley's ancestor was a Peak Sky Supreme and extremely powerful. But that was not the case. Inside the Foxman Valley's ancestor's body, there was a black gas floating around his heart. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.